notion in my head. I can almost feel you walking in the distance, but I know that it's not reality. If you are echoing around inside these parallel dimensions all alone, know I'll find you in my dreams. I'll find you in my I can almost feel you walking in the distance, but I know that it's not reality. My heart rages around like an ocean in.
Hey guys. Hey everybody. Happy Friday. It's finally Friday. Hi everybody. Hey. Hey guys, let me make sure my mic's on. Okay, I think my mic is on. Hi everybody. Good morning. Good morning, Miss King. Good morning, Gail. No, I'm not. I don't want no 1-800 calls from potential spam. No, thank you. Good morning, Gail. Good morning, Henny. Hey, Aurelia. How are you doing today? Hey, Nicole. Good to see you. Hi, everybody. Hi, Sherry. Hello. You like the new intro, Henny? Yay. Thank y'all. Thank you. I do too. I think it's kind of cool. Different, you know. I get bored with the same thing, and we've had that same intro for a really long time, but well, 1-800 potential spam is leaving a voicemail, so we'll see. We'll see. Ay. Margaret, hi. She says, hi, all. I'm getting ready to go. You guys wish Miss Margaret luck today. It's her first day of work. Margaret is not going to kindergarten, okay? She's going to work. Margaret got a job. You guys congratulate her in the chat if you have not previously already given her your congratulations. Way to go, Margaret. Here we go. Just for you. Thank you, Gail. I appreciate that. And Sherry, thanks, guys. I thought it was pretty cool. Different. Something different. Morgana Banana. Hey, Brenda. Hello, hello, hello. Hi, guys. Hi, everybody. Hello, hello. Everybody's saying congratulations to our sweet Margaret. Henny says, don't forget to leave your fingerprint on the thumbs up button. Much appreciated. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Have a great day, Margaret. I can't wait to hear about your first day. I'm so proud. I'm so proud of our Margaret. I'm so, so proud. Congratulations. Brenda says, wishing you the best, Margaret. We'll miss you here, but so happy for you. Yes. Margaret said, thanks all. As soon as I settle in, I'll be able to work, lurk, and chat. They are a very laid back group. Good. That makes me happy. That makes me happy. Brenda, Margaret, remember to tie your shoes and take a clean hanky. Yeah. Remember, put your shoes on the right feet, ma'am. Make sure your shoes are on the right feet. Come here, let me get that little bit of jelly off your chin. You know, give you a spit bath. Oh my goodness. She says, I've checked myself 10 times. Well, good. I'm sure you are perfect. Of course you're perfect. You're Margaret. All right, you guys. My top knot is side swaggled today. I don't know what it still is. It's going to have to get with the program. It keeps wanting to go this way. And I'm like, no. Right there. Stay right there. Anyway, we are going to get started with day one. And I'm kind of concerned about this trial, this Robbi Robinson trial, because day one was good. And then day two, they had a witness or two. And then the last witness, I think they said was a private investigator or maybe an investigator. I don't know. But they said that this person didn't want to be on camera because the judge has been asking each witness, telling each witness that they have the option to not be recorded or on camera or audio. So far, everybody's been fine with it. However, an investigator, I think it was an investigator, was like, nah, something about they're currently working other cases and they don't want, whatever. So, they cut the camera feed for that witness. Well, then they never turned it back on yesterday. So the entirety of day two, well, not the entirety, but like 90% of it is nothing. I mean, it's like a 6-hour long video, and like most of it is just a blue be back soon screen. And today, I haven't seen a stream. Now, I looked on their website I think it's Butler County, Ohio. Sorry, I have a piece of skin on my lip that's like, Anyway, on the website it says they don't open till noon. I don't know what that's about. So, and I was trying to look to see, but I thought the judge said see you back at 9 in the morning or something. Well, no, that would have been So they may not be back in court till noon. So either way, we'll have enough content for today, okay? And it's going to be a short day regardless for me and court because I have to leave here at 3 p.m. for a doctor's appointment. So, just letting you know. Wah, 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 wah. All right. Let me share my screen and we will get started. Share screen. Share screen. Bonk. Make it big. Add. Alrighty then. Here we go. So this is the opening statements, and let me just say really quickly before we get started also, the prosecutor, this woman prosecutor, she's very, I don't know what words to use to describe her. She has very pretty hair. But the way, like, she's a bit of a storyteller, you know? Anyway, let me know and maybe it just takes a minute. There's something about her I haven't quite put my finger on yet that there's something a little that I'm like, personality-wise, not anything to do with the case itself, because I think the case is a slam dunk. But just her in general, I don't know. You know, I'm a weirdo. I know. I pick out the goofiest things. Also, Judge is Daddy Warbucks. I ain't even kidding. I am not even kidding. Hold on a second. Or Mr. Clean. Yeah, okay, sorry, I was just checking my notifications on my phone real quick. So, but I'm not kidding, this judge is completely Daddy Warbucks, and when you see him, you're going to be like, he totally is Daddy Warbucks. Like, I can't unsee it. It's crazy. Here we go. And I'm going to put a trigger warning up just because this is trigger warning-ish. They must be waiting on the judge. So again, this is day one, and they will start with opening statements. However, the defense, I believe, has said that they will wait to give their opening statement before they start their case in chief. So once the state rests, before the defense starts their case, that's when they said they want to give their opening statement. Oh no, Aurelia. Hey girl, I'm glad you're back.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. All right, please have a seat, ladies and gentlemen. All right.
Now you tell me that ain't Daddy Warbucks.
Record, case Stepmom versus Robbi Robinson, CR 23050688. Counsel and the defendant are present. Jury I should say, has now been brought back into the courtroom, having concluded the jury view.
They went on a jury view of the house, you guys.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Next phase of the trial, as I told you earlier, is going to be opening statements. The state will, at this time, present an opening statement. As I said earlier this morning,
Right, Gail?
the statements of counsel are not evidence. It's your duty to decide this case, the issues of this case, based upon the evidence that's presented.
Trial Daddy
Statements of
Warbucks.
counsel and opening statements are designed to assist you, give you a roadmap, so to speak, of what the state believes it will present during the course of its case. Understood? Very well. With that, Ms. Pridemore, you may present your opening statement.
Miss
Thank you, Your
Pridemore.
Honor. May it please the court and opposing counsel.
Nice last name, Pridemore. I like that.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury,
Isn't her hair pretty? She's got pretty hair.
Brenda Scott was innocently sleeping in her bed during the morning hours of May 11th, 2023, when the defendant, Robbi
I'm not sure of the city, Aurelia. I just know it said Fairfield Township. I think it said Fairfield Township.
Robinson came busting through her closed bedroom door. With all his strength, he bashed her two front teeth out of her mouth, completely out. Confused and terrified, Brenda struggled to understand what was going on. But instead, she was met with being doused.
Okay, I think, you know how I was just saying I wasn't quite sure what it was about her that was like, meh. Sorry. That was very nasal, a very nasally, eh. I get very, like, Broadway, very dramatic, very, there's something, I don't know. I said the word storyteller. I mean, she's telling a story, right? Kind of puts me in the mind of the prosecutor in the trial the Colin Griffith trial. But, yeah, I mean, I like that part of you know, I love whenever prosecutors get up there and really tell the story, right? Or their version of the story, I should say. Cheesy overacting like a bad movie. I know, Gail, right? I feel like she should be on a stage, like in the, like, Wicked or something. I don't know.
By the defendant with some sort of ignitable liquid that he had put into water bottles. He covered her naked body with it. He doused her mattress with it. And he covered the carpet with it.
Trigger warning again.
And
Trigger
then
warning.
Robbi Robinson, the defendant, sitting right there, he did the unimaginable. He did the worst of the worst, as we talked about yesterday. He purposely set another human being on fire. He took a lighter, he flicked that lighter on, he looked at Brenda and set Brenda Scott, her flesh, as vulnerable as she could be because she was not wearing any clothing at the time. He set her flesh on fire. And 29 painful and tortuous days later, Brenda Scott died from those horrific burns. This case is about Brenda Scott, and let us not lose sight of that throughout this trial. So who was Brenda? Evidence is going to show that Brenda was a 50-year-old woman. She was a mother to 3 adult children. She's very close to her children. She always provided for them. She was a great listener to them. And she enjoyed watching scary movies with them.
This is Dave.
Okay, thank you.
You're going to hear that she was compassionate and that she was an RN, a registered nurse. And that is where she met her fiance, the defendant's father, Robbi Robinson Sr., at UC Westchester, where the defendant's father was also a nurse. And guess what? They fell in love. The defendant's father proposed to Brenda, and she accepted. And so Senior and Brenda were making plans for Brenda to move in to the house with Senior and the defendant. That house that you saw this morning at 2625 Arroyo Ridge Court.
Hey, Cherie.
So evidence will show that obviously Brenda and Senior were happy and they were making plans for the future.
Brenda's
But
like,
evidence will
I
also
don't
show
like this.
that there was someone who was not so happy about the future.
Or Brenda.
As the couple was moving forward with their lives, the defendant's life seemed to be going backwards. Evidence will show that little Rob, as the family called the defendant, was going through it. His parents had separated. He was unemployed. His car had been taken away. He didn't seem to want to interact with Brenda. He didn't want to be in the same room with her. He didn't want to talk to her. And so he bottled up that anger, and he decided to take matters into his own hands. And the perfect opportunity came. Brenda spent the night with Senior on May 10th. And then that fateful morning came. Senior went to work around 9:50 the morning of the 11th. He kissed Brenda goodbye and left her sleeping alone in the master bedroom on that second floor. He shut the door behind him while the defendant was off in his own room. And you will hear that those were the only 2 people left in the house when Senior left. And then no sooner than Senior left the house than the defendant started on his plan. His clothes were put on, and then a large puffer coat in 70 degrees weather and inside a house. He had several water bottles that were filled with some sort of ignitable liquid. You'll hear that some had acetone in it, and others had what will be described as some sort of camping fuel or cigarette lighter fluid. He took these water bottles with this liquid into his arms, and he traveled into the master bedroom where Brenda Scott innocently slept. And then what happened next can only be described as Brenda's own horror story. She was violently assaulted, and she was set on fire. And her only means of escape, the evidence will show, is that she locked herself in to the adjoining bathroom, and jumped out that left-hand window that you saw on the jury view from that second floor to get away from the defendant. Fire investigator Jim Cunningham will be able to tell you more about what happened in that master bedroom with those fires. It is expected that he will testify that in his expert opinion, there were two separate origins of the fire event, one on the mattress and the other on the carpet between the bed and the wall of the bedroom. The evidence will show that the cause of both of the fire events were determined to be by an intentional human act, by the application of an ignitable fluid onto Brenda Scott while she was in the bed, and the application of an ignitable liquid being thrown on the bed and on the carpet between the bed and on the south wall. And then the liquid was then ignited by a direct flame, like a lighter or a match. Now, after Brenda jumped out of the bathroom window to get away from the defendant, police, fire, and paramedics immediately responded, thanks to a neighbor who was working from home that day and who called 911. So think of the jury view, and when you were asked to look behind that neighbor with the pool, the responding people, found the defendant still in the house, still in that heavy winter coat in 70-degree weather. The responding officers also, and paramedics, also attended to Brenda, and she was air carried to the hospital, where she managed to stay alive, although in an induced coma, for almost a month. However, Brenda Scott
There's some sick
did
people
pass
in that
away,
courtroom
and she
today.
passed away on June the 9th. You will hear from the forensic pathologist in this case, Dr. Jennifer Schott, and she will explain to you that even though almost a month went by before death occurred, that Brenda Scott's death was still caused by the thermal injuries from being lit on fire on May the 11th. You will also hear from a whole host of witnesses who responded to the crime scene that day. You will see photographs of the area, the residents in the crime scene, as well as view the relevant physical evidence that was retrieved from the house. You will hear from experts who recovered those water bottles that I talked about and how they were tested and found to have the ignitable liquids or fluids inside them, as well as on the defendant's clothing and coat he was found to be wearing on scene immediately after setting Brenda on fire. And you will also see and hear how the bedding from the center of the bed and the bedding from the foot of the bed and the carpet and padding from the right side of the bed all had the ignitable liquid on it as well. And you will finally hear how some of Brenda Scott's burned flesh from the backyard of the residence, from where she jumped, and from where her skin was slipping off of her body due to her burn injuries, also had that ignitable liquid on it. Testimony will also demonstrate that there was a Bic lighter found in the master bedroom that had one single DNA profile on it. And that single profile DNA had the defendant's DNA on it. And you will hear straight from the defendant's mouth, only two people in the house were Brenda and the defendant at the time of the crime. Now, because of these crimes, the defendant was indicted on 5 counts, and you've already heard during the preliminaries from Judge Spaeth what those counts were. Aggravated murder with a death penalty specification, 2 counts of aggravated arson, and 2 counts of felonious assault. You don't have to memorize what these counts are. We are going to talk about them again in closing arguments. You're going to have these counts in jury instructions, and they are going to be explained to you in great detail and broken down for you and defined for you in the jury instructions. However, as we go along, it's good to have an outline of what you will want to be listening for as we go through the evidence for the state's case. So count 1 is aggravated murder. Did the defendant purposely cause the death of Brenda Scott while committing aggravated arson? And the specification was aggravated murder committed while the defendant committed aggravated arson was the principal offender. Principal offender, was he the one doing these acts? Was there a co-defendant? Were they acting in concert, or was he the one doing everything? Count 2, aggravated arson. Did the defendant, by means of fire, knowingly create a substantial risk of serious physical harm to Brenda Scott? Count 3, aggravated arson. Did the defendant, by means of fire, knowingly cause physical harm to any occupied structure? Okay, so count 2 is for Brenda, count 3 is for the house. Okay, count 4 and count 5, same counts, felonious assault. Did the defendant knowingly cause serious physical harm to Brenda Scott? Count 4 is by knocking her teeth out. Count 5, same language, but by setting Brenda on fire and causing burns to her. Now, we talked about the burden of proof. The state has that burden of proof to prove these counts to you beyond a reasonable doubt. And the state does not shy away from that burden, and it is a high burden. But ladies and gentlemen, the state gladly accepts that burden, and the state will shoulder that burden. At the end of this trial, the state will come before you again, and we will ask you to find the defendant guilty of every single count and the death penalty specification. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brian Moore. Is the state prepared to call its first witness?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor.
You may do so.
Lord, Lord, Lord.
Logistical issues. Just do it.
Who does the state intend to call as its first witness?
Morgan left, Your Honor.
We have a quick sidebar. You may.
Quick sidebar. Now, they do have quite a few sidebars, but thankfully they're short. Thankfully they're short. There's the defendant back here in the back in the blue dress shirt with his hand on his head. Sitting there all willy-nilly. Like, do I have to be here? Why did it stop? Oh. Yeah. So they have their brief little sidebar. This gal standing here to the left is the one that's getting ready to take the witness stand. And she was the 911 operator. This is a bit of a longer sidebar. I don't remember the others being this long.
Patience.
Please stand right there. Turn and face the jury. Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give before this court and jury is true and accurate?
And it's so funny because, like 20 minutes into her, maybe not 20, maybe 10. Anyway, several minutes into her testimony, the judge or the attorney, one or the other, I can't remember which, is like, oh, by the way, you have the right to not be filmed or recorded. Do you have an issue with that? She's like, no. And I know in my mind, she's thinking, why didn't you ask me that, like, before? And they do that with all these different witnesses. Like, the witnesses are literally on the stand with a camera on them when they ask them if they want to be filmed. I'm like, you need to ask them before they even come into the courtroom. So stupid.
Accurate to the best of your ability and knowledge.
All right, your answer when you're ready.
Brenda, I believe he was either 25 when it happened or he's 25 now. I just know that they've said he's 25, but I don't know if that was his age when the incident occurred, which was in 2023, or if he's currently 25. I don't know which.
Thank you, Your Honor. Would you state your name for the record, please?
Morgan Webb,
And Ms. Webb, where are you employed?
Butler County Sheriff's Office.
And in what capacity do you work there?
I'm a 911 dispatcher.
How long have you worked in that capacity?
In May, it'll be 9 years.
And what kind of training did you receive in order to be a dispatcher for the sheriff's office?
We're trained by our superiors and our supervisors on taking 911 calls, but then also dispatching for first responders like law enforcement, fire department.
Okay, so those two things go together?
Yeah, I'm trained on all of it.
And were you employed in that capacity on May 11th of 2023?
I was.
Did you receive a phone call at 10:26 that morning?
I did.
And who was that call from?
His name was Dennis Williams. He was a male 911 caller who was calling for a neighbor.
And are all 911 calls recorded?
They're all recorded.
And have you had an opportunity, if I could approach Judge, showing you what's been marked State's Exhibit 1. Are you familiar with this exhibit?
I am.
Did you have an opportunity to review the recording that's contained on this exhibit?
Yes, I did.
And is it a true and accurate copy of the phone call that you had at 10:26 of the morning of May 11,
It is.
2023? Your Honor, State would like to submit Exhibit 1 into evidence and publish it to the jury.
Defense wish to be heard? Very well.
I need to
Noting the rules made to
It's gonna
sign
play from my
policy,
computer.
One will be admitted. It may be published at this time.
I can give you my address, but I'm not exactly sure. My neighbor behind my house is laying out, and looks like she caught a fire or something.
Okay, what's your address?
My address is 6140 Gomer's Place.
Okay, and what's on fire?
Well, I see a little fire next to her, and she's laying in the backyard.
Okay, does she live on Arroyo Ridge Court?
Yes.
Right behind your house?
It's right behind my house, yes.
Okay. Where is the fire coming from? Any idea?
I see a small flame next to her.
And she's laying on the ground?
Yes.
Okay, can you yell at her real quick? See if she can get her to wake up?
She's awake, she's talking to me. I can't get my fence open to get over it.
What is she saying?
Huh? She's hurt bad. But she's still talking, she's awake.
Yeah, keep talking to her. Ask her if she knows what happened.
What happened? Someone set her on fire.
Someone set her on fire? Okay.
Somebody set her on fire, yes. Your son? Okay.
Okay, I'm sending paramedics out to you now. Just keep me on the line. Can you get to her?
Okay, and, I'm gonna try to jump the fence. She said she's still here.
Okay, don't put yourself in danger.
Right, she said she's still there, so I don't know. And I just had police come because she said she's still here. Yeah. They're on their way. They're on their way. No, stay there. Don't move. Just stay there.
What's your name, sir?
Dennis Williams.
Can you ask her son's name? Or if he has any weapons?
Do you know if he has any weapons? Water with gasoline, he threw it on her. You said it was your boyfriend? Her boyfriend's son. Yeah, she said please hurry, she's got asthma, she can't breathe.
Do you see any burns on her?
I do, her skin is completely covered, burns, back, everywhere.
Okay, Dennis, thank you for helping her to keep me on the line. Do you see any movement around the house? Any guys around?
I don't see anything, I see, there's actually smoke coming out of the house.
Smoke coming out of the house?
On the top floor. He set the house on fire too. Oh my God.
Can you get her away? We really don't want to move her, but I'm really scared he's going to come back. Is there any way to get her away from the residence?
Without showing him, probably not.
Probably not. Okay, just stay close for me. Ask her his name.
Sorry, can you say his name? Robbi? He's 24, she says Robbi, I can't understand her.
Okay. Let her know help is on the way.
I can hear them, they're coming, help is on the way, they're almost here.
Ask her if Robbi has any guns.
Does he have any guns? She doesn't know.
No idea. She's like... Does Robbi drive a car? Can you ask her?
Does he drive a car? I'm gonna go out front. Oh my God, I just hope this guy's in out front or something.
I do not want you to put yourself in danger. I really want to help her, but I don't want him to put herself in
The
danger.
house is, yeah, their house on fire.
Okay.
Coming out the top window.
Everyone's coming.
I think she jumped out the window, top floor.
You think she jumped out the window?
Yeah, because the screen broken next to her on the ground and the top window busted out. They said they're on the way, they're close, I can hear them now.
I just want to confirm, she's not still smoldering on fire, right? That's
No,
her?
they're trying to her, yeah. I'm sorry, sweetie, they're on their way.
How old does she look to you? The female? Any idea?
No.
Okay. Can we get them, do you see any gates that are open?
There's no fence.
No fence, so we can get to her
She's
to
in the
slide?
backyard. She's in the backyard. Yeah,
What's
she's
your address, Dennis? On Silver
51
Street?
where he's on this place. Yeah, she's my neighbor connected to my backyard.
Okay.
She's having a hard time breathing. Oh my God, her skin is like off of her body. Oh my God. There's still a car at the house, so I'm assuming somebody's still in there.
Okay.
I mean, I have a firearm, but I need to just go over there and check. I don't want to put myself in danger, but I feel terrible pain.
I know, I understand completely. They're asking what the suspect is, but we don't know what's over there, so just stay where you are. They will be there any second.
I believe in now.
Oh my gosh. Hey, P. Lola.
Sophia, breathe.
And no burn pile, ma'am. No burn pile.
We interrupt this for just a moment.
He actually sets her on fire in the house, and she jumps out the window.
Stop.
I apologize. Ms. Webb, I forgot to ask you. Do you have any objection to being photographed or videotaped during the course of your testimony?
No, Your Honor.
Very well. You may resume the weighing of State's Exhibit 1.
No.
On the second floor,
I'm here, P.
Yeah.
Lola. Can you hear me? Or are you behind?
can you ask her while she's still awake if she can answer you? Is there any other kids in the house?
Is there anybody else in the house? No.
Okay.
You can't breathe. The smoke's coming out now. I think, yeah, they're here. They're here. I'm jumping up there to wait on them.
Okay.
She's back here. I think she jumped out the top because the top was busted out and it's on fire.
He said, shut up, dogs.
The beer bank. They're here.
Okay. And I'm gonna let you go. Thank you again for your help.
Thank you. Bye.
Ms. Webb, do you remember what time you received that phone call?
P. Lola.
Okay. And
P.
when
Lola
say
says,
the
you like
report,
my behind.
Is there a report of the incidents that's recorded, that records everything you do on a 911 call?
Yes, there's one for every call.
And does that log the time that the call begins and also log when the first responding units arrive?
It does, it logs all times.
Would it help you refresh your recollection to look at that document?
Yes, please.
May I approach, Judge?
She may use the document to refresh her recollection.
P. Lola comes to the cafe so she can get people to tell her that she has a nice behind.
After reviewing the incident report, do you now remember what time it was that the call was received?
10:26 a.m.
Okay. And about what time did the first responding unit arrive?
10:32 a.m.
Okay, so about 6 minutes later.
Right.
And I heard you asking a lot of questions of Mr. Williams about what the condition of the victim was. Why do you do that? What's your
Prepare
purpose?
the first responders, like the fire departments and medics that are on their way. Give them as much information as I can.
Your Honor, I don't have additional questions for this witness.
Ross? We have no questions. Ms. Webb, we very much thank you for your time. You may be excused.
Easy peasy, lemon
Watch yourself
squeezy.
as you exit the
Okay, thank you.
stand.
Witness.
State's next witness?
Can you call Dennis Williams, Your Honor?
Okay, so Dennis Williams is the neighbor that called 911. Ooh, Margaret says, okay, I'm heading in for my first day. Hope my tears dry soon. Aw, your tears? Why are you crying, ma'am? I hope they're tears of joy. There goes my side-swaggled mom knot again. What in the world? This thing is not wanting to do what it's not acting. Act right. Act right. Act like you got some sense up there on top of my head. I hope they're tears of joy, Margaret, and not tears of, like, sadness or fear or... You got this, ma'am. And you don't forget, like I said yesterday, they are lucky to have you, okay? They're lucky to have you. Yes, Pilola, everyone is healthy. I have a doctor's appointment today, but it's just a follow-up to go over my thyroid blood work and my blood pressure medicines change. Like, she increased my dosage on my blood pressure medicine because my blood pressure's been kind of wacky lately. So, anyway, at least it doesn't look like a rat is on your head. I know, right? God, that was awful. I remember that day. It literally did. It looked like I had a rat tail hanging out the side of my head. Hey, Patricia. Good to see you, ma'am. Yeah, you have a great first day, Margaret, and you, as soon as you get the chance, you come in and let us know, okay? And if for whatever reason you need our assistance, you just come into the chat and just drop I don't know, what would be a good emoji for I need help? Get me out of here, sim emoji. What would be a really good emoji for Margaret to drop into the chat if she's like, get me the heck out of Dodge? The side eyes. You could do that. You could do that. Or, you know, I don't know. Either way, you're going to be fine. You got this. Okay. Y'all ready to get back to this? Here we go. We're rooting for you, Margaret. Morgana put a frog in a log. Frog log.
Please stand right here.
Just whatever you do, Margaret, don't get a case of the nervous poops.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court and jury is true and accurate?
You know what I mean? Like, don't go in with a nervous belly and then get, like, a nervous belly and then have to, like, run to the bathroom. Don't do that. And for the love of God, make sure you have your shoes on the right feet. Please and thank you. You got
Best of your
this.
ability and knowledge. Yes. Thank you. Have a seat right there, sir.
Okay, tell me first. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, if you'll excuse us for
Nervous
just a moment.
poops are the worst, Morgana. Yes. So I'm just going to say that this witness, the neighbor, is a good-looking man. Yes, he is. skip through the sidebar.
Or photograph?
No.
Test.
See, now he's asking him. He's asking now that he's already on camera. Is it okay if you're videoed and recorded? Do you have a problem with that?
Sir, you have the right not to be videotaped or photographed during the course of your testimony. Do you have any objection to being videotaped or photographed?
No.
Very well.
Good grief.
Patrick, you may proceed when you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Mr. Williams.
Good morning.
Sir, would you state your name for the record and spell your last name, please?
Dennis Rashawn Williams, Williams, Williams.
And sir, where do you reside?
I live currently on White Pine Lane in Fairfield Township.
Okay. Is that where you resided on May 11th of
You're
2023?
right, Sheree.
No, it's not.
Where did you reside then?
I lived on 6140 Zollner's
I'm
Place.
assuming
It was
he
also
will
in
be.
Fairfield Township.
Okay, and is that in proximity to 2625 Arroyo Court Drive?
Yes, it's the street in parallel to it, yes.
Okay, so does your property abut the property at 2625?
Correct, our backyard butted up directly to that property.
Okay. Where do you work?
I work for Essilor Luxottica.
I'm sorry?
Essilor Luxottica.
And did you work there on May 11th of 2023?
That's correct.
Okay. Sometimes do you work from home?
Yes,
Were you working from home on May 11th?
I was.
And I'm sorry, May 11th of 2023.
Yes.
And at some point were you interrupted and required to go outside?
Yes.
What caused that to happen?
I was in between meetings and my dog.
Yes.
One of 3 dogs was.
Yes, Morgana. This is a death penalty case. It sure is.
Barking hysterically, and because I had a break in the meeting, I decided to go ahead and let him out. I assumed the barking was connected to wanting to go outside.
Okay. Is that unusual for them?
Yes, especially that dog, frankly, doesn't bark.
Okay. And what did you see when you went outside in your backyard?
Initially, the dogs went out sort of hysterically, all 3 of them, and then I noticed what appeared to be. Initially I couldn't tell there was somebody laying in the yard, but it looked to be someone laying in the yard, is what I observed.
Okay. And can you describe the orientation of the person who was laying in the yard? Was her head towards you or towards
You're
the house?
welcome. You're welcome.
I would say a little bit towards me, slanted. The individual was laying, was not clothed, appeared to be injured, and was somewhat frantic and frankly seemed scared.
Okay, so this person was, you said she seemed frantic. What made you think she was
She was
frantic?
saying things, saying she had asthma, need help me. And then there was a statement of, he set me on fire, something to that effect.
Okay. And you said she appeared injured. What
Yeah.
kind of injuries did you see?
Based on, my observation where I was standing, her face looked like it had been harmed in some fashion. It looked like to be some kind of some bleeding or something to that effect around her face.
Okay. Rick, do I have to do anything to make it so that
You're going to use the
I was gonna
camera?
use the camera, yeah, if I can. May I approach the witness, gentlemen? Sir, I'm showing you what's been marked State's Exhibit 4A. Do you recognize what's depicted in that photo?
Yes, I do.
Is that an accurate depiction of what you saw when you went into your backyard that morning?
Yes.
Okay. Judge, we'd like to submit Exhibit 4A into evidence,
Photograph?
which is a photograph, and publish it to the jury.
Defense wish to be heard?
This-
Very well. 4A will be admitted, you may publish.
hey, Latanya. Good to see you. Hey, hey. Latanya says, hey, y'all, just jumping on. Is this a current trial? So it is a current trial, although we're a couple days behind. It started a couple days ago. P. Lola, thank you so much for the super chat, honey. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Latanya, it is, like I said, it's current, but it is, we're a couple days behind. And as far as today's testimony, I'm not sure if they've started I'm not sure if they've started testimony for today or not yet. I was looking earlier and I hadn't seen a stream for today, but according to the county website for this courthouse, it said they don't open until noon. I don't know if that's like a common thing in Ohio on Fridays or what, but anyway. Hey, Courtney. Hello, 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 hello. Back to P. Lola's super chat. Thank you very much for the super chat, ma'am. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Here, let's have a little sparkle for P. Lola. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. Oh, God, Morgana. Not again with that, please. Oh, Lord. All right. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. P. Lola, you're something else, man.
Zoom in however you want. Just tell me when you're ready.
Okay, so trigger warning. Just a trigger warning. Trigger warning here. Now, when we talked about this case the other day, the body cam footage had this portion like blurred out. They didn't blur it out here, okay? So, just a fair warning. Just a fair warning, okay? Just a fair warning. Just giving you fair warning. Latanya, yeah, definitely Google if you want the nitty gritty details. Just the lowdown, I'll give you a really quick rundown. The defendant, his name is Robbi Robinson. He's about 25 years old. He set his soon-to-be stepmom on fire in the house. She jumps out a second-story window to get away from him. He had also assaulted her, like punched her in the face or something. But he doused her in flammable liquid and set her on fire. She jumps out the window. She lives, I think they said, for 29 days in an induced coma in the hospital, but then ended up dying from her injuries. And this is a death penalty case. So that's the very brief description.
Is that
Now, this is her laying there, okay? They don't get up close and personal or anything, but just trigger warning.
At the orientation, you could see her in when
Yes.
you approached her, and she was able to talk to you as she was like that?
Yes.
During the time that you were talking to her, did she ever move from that position?
No, she didn't look, she was not able to move.
Excuse me, Your Honor, counsel approach.
Another sidebar. Definitely horrible. Ugh.
All right, Mr. Hatcher, you may continue your examination of the witness.
Now, may I approach the witness?
You may.
Sir, I'm showing you what's been marked State's Exhibit 3. Were you able to provide a ring video from your home that depicted some of this incident?
I was.
And is the video that's contained on this disc an accurate representation of that ring video that you provided to the state?
Yes.
Judge, we'd like to submit State's Exhibit 3 into evidence and publish State's Exhibit 3 to the jury.
Court will note the objections made.
Okay, you guys, I'm gonna run grab some coffee real quick, and I'll be right back in a few moments.
I'm going to switch to the HDMI cable. Thank you.
Also, before I go grab coffee, I don't want to have to keep saying trigger warning, but trigger warning, you can hear her, I believe. You can hear her. You can hear her talking, but you can also hear her wincing, like, you could tell she was in pain, but you can also hear her, well, you could hear in the 911 call whenever we heard that a while ago, but just letting you know, okay?
So at the conclusion of the video, you're running back into the house. What are you running back into the house to do?
To retrieve my cell phone. I left my cell phone upstairs where my office is, so I needed to go back in and retrieve it to call 911.
Okay. And once you came back outside, is that when you called 911?
Yeah, I started to call 911 as I was coming back downstairs, but yes.
And
You ready, Mr. Hatcher?
yes.
I can give you my address, but I'm not exactly sure. My neighbor behind my house is laying out. It looks like she caught a fire or something.
Fulton County 911, what is the address of the emergency?
I can give you my address, but I'm not exactly sure. My neighbor behind my house is laying out, and looks like she caught a fire.
Okay, what's your address?
My address is 6140 Goldman Place.
Okay, and what's on fire?
Objection. Can we stop the
What?
tape?
I wasn't even sure there was a question before him. We just started playing the 911 video.
It's already in evidence.
I agree, it's already in evidence.
I'm going to ask him some questions about the video.
All right, well, let's start off with a question.
You called 911 after you came back out of the house?
That's correct.
Where were you standing when you made that phone call?
The phone call started as I was in my home and as I was running back towards the fence line of my home. So the initial part of the 911 call is while I'm at my fence line. And then at some point during the call, I jumped over the fence and proceeded into their backyard.
Okay. So at the beginning of the phone call, that's
Are you going to play the phone call and then ask the witness to identify where he was located at that particular time?
Yes, Judge.
All right, I'll permit you to do that.
Behind your house?
It's right behind my house, yes.
Okay. Where is the fire coming from?
So at that point in the phone call, are you still inside your house or are you outside?
I'm outside.
And there was a question about where the fire was coming from.
Yes.
Any idea?
I see a small flame next to her.
That flame, if I showed you Exhibit 4A again, would you be able to point out where that flame was in relation to
I
where she was
I
laying?
believe so.
Are you able to see Exhibit 4A on your screen?
I am
Where was the flame in relation to where she's lying?
closer to her. I'd say between the what looks like a window, in between her and the window that's there.
Okay,
I
so
think you can use the touch, I think that's a touch screen, and I believe you can, if you so desire, place an X where the flame was as you.
Is it annotating, sir, or is it not?
It's not doing anything.
You tell me you have to press hard. So.
he's pressing. It doesn't
No,
seem
I
to
don't
be.
know if,
Or maybe you could hand the witness a pointer or a stick. We'll go old school.
Your Honor, is it okay if I hand him a laser pointer?
Perfect.
So on the screen behind you is an enlarged version of it. If you could look at it and point back there where the flame was.
So it was somewhere in this space.
Okay. And
And it was a small flame.
I'll figure that out later.
did Ms. Scott, was she able to talk to you as you were on the phone with the 911 dispatcher?
Yes.
And what information were you trying to obtain to relay to them?
Number one, I was trying to describe the situation. So we asked her, was he still in the house? Trying to understand what happened. She indicated that he set her on fire, and then she went into a sort of repeating of the name, a name in general. So I believe when I repeated her name, the name she was saying into the 911 operator.
Do you remember what that name was?
She kept saying Robbi Robinson is what she kept saying.
Okay. Do you know Robbi Robinson?
Not personally, but I know of the family that lives there and have seen them before, yes.
Okay, had you seen both Robbi Robinson Sr. and Robbi Robinson Jr. before?
At the home, yes.
Okay. Did she differentiate for you which Robbie she was talking about?
Not by the name, but she then, at some point during the call, while I was on the call, indicated an age.
Okay, and what did she say?
I believe she said 23 or 24 years old. I can't remember specifically, but it was 23 or 24 years old.
Okay. And did you, if you were looking at the back of the house on Arroyo Ridge Court, which side of the house were you standing on by the fence line?
If I'm looking at the back, I was on the right of their, to the right, towards the corner of the house to where I could see the driveway.
Okay, so you could see the driveway, and that also is the vantage point you had of her?
Yeah, I mean, looking at the picture from where I'm standing, it's almost like I took the picture because of where I'm standing.
Okay. And how far away do you think you were?
Approximately 15 feet, maybe.
Okay, and you could tell the nature of her injuries?
Yes.
What would you say about how she was acting and how she seemed to you?
Just mentioned before, kept saying she had asthma, she was frantic, came across as, extremely scared, and she looked like she was in desperate help. I mean, I've not seen someone that injured ever personally in life, so it was,
Okay.
she's, frantic is the word I would use to describe her.
Did anything she said to you during the 911 call give you concern for your own safety?
Well, the fact that she indicated that she was set on fire, and then the fact that he was still there, it created some concern. So I indicated to the 911 caller that she said, to the 911 operator, I should say, that he was still in the house, and then she indicated to make sure I didn't get too close.
Okay. Were you concerned that the same thing would happen to you?
Yes. I didn't know what to expect, so I would have loved to have gotten closer, but for fear of my own safety, I stayed back.
Okay. And did she describe to you how her burns occurred?
Specifically, no, only to say he set me on fire.
He set me
on fire.
Okay. And did she say who he was?
Yes, she repeated Robbi Robinson.
Okay, so when you said she was repeating that name over and over again, that was in relation to he set me on fire?
Yeah, yes, he did it. And she said Robbi Robinson. She kept saying, she actually said it before we asked a couple times. So I believe.
How long did it take, in your estimation, for the first units to arrive?
It felt like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, but I think in reality, it was probably less than 7 minutes maybe.
Okay. I'm sure that felt like an eternity.
It felt like an eternity, yes.
I think you mentioned that you felt bad being in your yard. What was concerning you about that?
About being in my yard?
Yes.
You mean when I was in their yard?
Well, you said you, at one point, indicated that you felt bad standing there.
Yeah, well, so initially when I made the 911 call and I went back to the fence, I did jump over into their property. What I felt bad about was that she specifically is saying she has asthma and she's needing help, and I want to physically help her, and I'm not getting close enough to help her. But the 911 operator had indicated, do not get closer. You need to make sure, like, if he's still there, keep your own safety, keep your distance. So I followed that instruction. It didn't get close enough to physically help her or move her, and plus, probably wasn't the right thing to do to move her anyway. But that's what I felt really bad about.
Would you have been concerned about trying to physically touch her?
Probably initially in the moment, I wasn't necessarily worried about it, but initially when I got the phone call, when I made the call, I wasn't planning to just jump the fence and go over. But as I started to talk on the phone, I started to develop some concerns about it, only because I didn't want to be completely honest, I was really worried that somebody was going to come out of that house and while I wasn't paying attention, and I wanted to be aware of what was happening. So initially no, but at some point I did start to get concerned about touching her.
Okay, and you said at some point you checked to see if there was a car in the front of their house?
Yeah, I could see one when I was standing back waiting for the first responders.
Okay, and did you go to the front of the house, or did you stay in the back?
I did not, I stayed in the back.
Okay. At any time while you were out there, did you see any individual in the windows or on the side of the house?
No, I did not.
Did anybody come out and ask you for help other than Brenda Scott?
No.
How long, could you, sorry, let me start that over again. When you first came out of your house and saw her, as you were making the 911 call originally, was there smoke and fire present inside the house at that time?
Yes, there was smoke coming out of one of the windows.
Okay, so you could see that right away?
Yeah, there was just a little bit of smoke coming out of the window. The initial fire that I saw was the one on the grass, and then there was a little bit of smoke coming out of one window, and then progressively it started to come out of another second-story window.
Okay. Did you ever see flames, or was it all just smoke?
Just smoke.
And you said it spread to another window. Could you indicate whether the smoke became heavier or stayed the same?
Heavier, yeah. As it progressed, it became much heavier.
Okay, and what were you thinking was happening inside the house from that?
I assumed that the fire was growing and taking over the top floor completely.
Objection, speculation sustained. The jury is instructed to disregard witness's last response.
Did you ask Ms. Scott if he set the house on fire as well?
I did not specifically.
Did, prior to, you said you knew Robbi Robinson Sr. and Robbi Robinson Jr. by sight.
Mm-hmm.
Had you ever seen Miss Scott before that morning?
Actually, no. I had not seen her previously.
Okay, so this was a complete stranger.
Yeah, I did not recognize her, which was, I mean, I just didn't recognize who she was initially, no. And had not seen her previously.
And you stayed in proximity to her until the first responders arrived?
That's correct.
Okay. And after they came, what did you do?
Once the first responder that came was a police officer. He came towards me. I indicated where Ms. Scott was laying. He came and ran towards her. I then started to back. There's I don't know if it's like a water runoff between our, once you jump my property line, there's like a water runoff. I kind of jumped back over the water runoff area, was still outside of my fence line. And then when the EMTs showed up, I jumped back over my fence line and stayed there until the initial first responder officer came to the fence to talk to me. So then I talked to him from inside my fence.
So prior to their arrival, you had entered the yard at
That's correct.
2625
Yep.
Arroyo. What part of the yard were you standing in? How far away from Miss Scott were you then?
So when I go over the fence, so our backyards bump up against each other. I have a fence, and then there's probably 5 feet of grass at most, and then there's probably 2 to 3 feet of water. It's like the water runoff for the neighborhood, and then it's their backyard. I was in their backyard during the 911 call.
Okay. Were you close to the water or close to the house?
I was closer to the water, but close enough to the house to where I could see her. So.
Okay. And when you said the vantage point you're seeing in photo 4A, exhibit 4A, would be almost like you took the photo. Would that be from when you were standing inside their yard or
That's
when you were
inside the
standing
yard,
in?
yes.
Okay. And how long were you in that position before the first responders arrived?
For the majority of the duration of the call, so I would say at least about 4 or 5 minutes.
Okay.
At least.
And then when they arrived, that's when you returned back to your
Yeah, I
yard?
returned back to my side of where the water reserve kind of runoff is, and then again, once the EMT showed, that's when I jumped back over into my yard.
Okay. Did, as you were in your yard, were you watching the response?
Yes, for a moment. I did return into the house for a moment to kind of get my dogs in the house. But then I did return back outside, and then that's when I talked to the initial police officer that was on the scene.
Okay. And you provided them a statement at that time?
Yes, he asked me for my sort of personal identification information, and I told him a very brief summary of what what happened, and he took a statement.
And that, fair to say that kind of ended your involvement with the incident?
Yes.
I don't have additional questions for this witness, Judge.
Ross?
Good morning, Mr. Williams.
Good morning.
The ring video, have you seen that lately?
Not too recently, no.
Okay. The question I have for you is, does the ring video, when that starts, is Ms. Scott already on the ground?
When it starts, is she already on the ground? Yes.
Yes, okay. You could not hear it today, but at the very beginning of the video, you hear a big, like, noise or something like that. That's not her jumping or any variation of that. That noise must come from your house, is that correct?
More than likely, yes. There was, when I came out of the door at the start of the video, she's already laying outside.
That's just what I wanted to know. Thank you
Yes.
very much. That's all I have, Your Honor.
Yes.
Redirect? Negative. Mr. Williams, thank you very much for your time. Please watch your step, object to witness stand. Ladies and gentlemen, the jury, it's 12 o'clock. We are going to take our lunch break between now and 1 o'clock p.m. It'll give you a little extra time. How about we say 1:15? That'll give you enough time to get to the restaurant and get back. During the course of our break, remember and abide by the admonitions that I shared with you. Do not discuss this case amongst yourselves when anyone is discussing with you or in your presence. Do not form or express any opinions on this case. Do not research the case. Do not post on the internet regarding this case. We appreciate your compliance. We appreciate your time. Don't forget to wear your juror badges during the course of our break.
Hey, Donnie. Hey, Donnie. Hey, Donnie. Okay, let's skip through their lunch break. All right.
Made a thumb drive of all exhibits that we plan on moving and gave
There we
it to
go.
the defense.
Right. Whee!
The two
Whee!
people depicted in this is Brenda Scott and Ms. Williams,
Brianna Williams, yes,
Brianna Williams.
the witness in question.
All right. Well, you can't say it's redundant. I don't know that I've ever had a murder trial where the state wasn't permitted to introduce at least one picture
Do you want me
of the decedent. Tell me again why we can't.
Listen to the defense's reasoning for why he doesn't want the victim's face shown. Makes no sense to me. I understand why he's saying it, but just know the judge overrules it, okay? And I thought it was pretty stupid, but anyway.
Why this is improper?
Judge, I'm going with the danger of prejudice outweighing the probative value. In this particular case, you're going to see autopsy pictures where, at this particular point, they have had to cut skin off of her, almost nearly over her entire, I mean, 3/4 of her body or some variation of that, okay? And what she looks like in these autopsy pictures is literally unrecognizable, okay? It's horrific. Okay, I understand all that. To give the state the ability to say, well, this is what she looks like when she's alive, and this is what she looks like when she's dead, I think there's no probative value in that. And so I'm just making the argument that the prejudicial value outweighs the probative value in that instance, in this particular instance.
Having carefully considered your arguments, the objections overruled. The state will be able to attempt to introduce State's Exhibit 5. We'll note the defendant's objection will be preserved for the record. Are there any other issues we need to resolve?
Thank you. One more, I would just ask that Mr. Hatcher lay foundation as to how all this information has been gleaned, because I'm not aware of what the testimony is going to be.
All right.
Thank you.
If he fails to lay a foundation, I'm sure you will object.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I suppose I could ask now, or just at least put everyone on notice. At the end of Ms. Williams's testimony, the state would be making a motion under Rule 615 as well as under Marcy's Law for Ms. Rihanna Williams for her subpoena to be suspended. The state would not ask to recall Ms. Williams and for Ms. Williams to be allowed under Rule 615 and under Marcy's Law to then be allowed to stay with her family and to remain in the courtroom for then the duration of the trial.
So she wouldn't be subject to being recalled. She couldn't testify further. What objection would the defendant have to allowing Brianna Williams to remain in the courtroom?
The defense would have two matters to take up with that. Number one, that we would object to her staying in the courtroom. I think that the jury gets to see a whole bunch of people in the courtroom. It would prevent Mr. Robinson from having a fair trial if they know who the daughter of the victim is in the courtroom during the entire rest of the trial. With that also being said, we would also expect maybe to begin with the prosecutor, but at least the court, to give her the same warning that everybody else has, that you're not allowed to be making, noise during this particular trial. And we all recognize how emotionally charged this is, but it doesn't overcome our client's right to a fair trial. So,
Well, the court has a huge interest in making certain that we have a fair trial. For the record, while defense counsel has brought these noise and reactions by family members of the decedent to the court's attention, I have not personally heard those. But I think the prosecutor doesn't disagree that there has been some noises. So while we're on the topic, those who are in the gallery, the court will expect that there'll be absolutely no reaction, either physical or vocal or otherwise, to anything that is said, transpires, shown here in this courtroom. And if there's further violations, this court, I will require that you vacate the courtroom. Is that understood, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you very much for your anticipated cooperation. Now, in good faith, can the defendant set forth any argument or proposed scenario in which the defense would call Brianna Williams in its case?
no, sir.
Under the circumstances, under Marcy's Law, and with the understanding that Ms. Williams will not be able to converse with any of the witnesses regarding the testimony or what she may observe here in the courtroom, that she'll be permitted when she finishes her testimony and is subject to cross-examination to then remain in the courtroom with the understanding that she will not be permitted to be recalled under any circumstances, particularly by the state. Are there any other questions or concerns?
No, sir.
No, sir. May I excuse myself to give her the admonishment of just being quiet after her testimony? I didn't do that. I forgot to do that.
Well, I think you'll have a couple minutes while Rick is bringing the jury in, so you
Okay,
can
I
take
didn't
those.
know where they were.
All right, Rick, you think we're ready to bring the jury in? More likely than not.
Yeah, I'll take a couple minutes, so I'll go off the record.
That's fine. You go off the record while we bring the jurors in.
Yeah.
Yes,
What do you mean, Brenda? Sorry. Brenda said, I think the jury should have that right. What do you mean, Brenda? What do you mean?
Yeah.
Just so I'm clear.
Yeah, I just want.
Okay. There's Daddy Warbucks back.
Court of Common Pleas in and for Butler County, the Honorable Keith M. Spate presiding, is now in session.
All right, please have a seat.
Brenda must be behind also. A few minutes. He looks like a mountain. Morgana, are you going to say something dirty?
All right, we're back in the record.
Morgana's getting ready to say something, y'all.
023050688, approximately 1:25 in the afternoon. The jury has been returned to the courtroom. Counsel and the defendant are present. State's next witness.
Next witness is Brianna Williams.
He's a big dude. Okay. Phew. Thought you were going to say something else. Why would I think you would say something dirty? Ma'am.
Stand right here. Turn and face the jury. Raise your right hand, please. You swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give before this court and jury is true and accurate to the best of your ability and knowledge? Thank you. Have a seat. Would like some water?
I don't know, and I could be wrong. Let me rewind it. But he gave the whole thing about, not wanting this witness to, spoiler alert, this witness is the victim's daughter, okay? And that whole rigmarole that they were just talking about was in reference to emotional outbursts or that kind of thing. So what was I gonna say? Brenda's answering, and my brain, I swear I cannot. If I want to concentrate and say what I want to say, I cannot look at the chat. I can't do it because my brain, there goes my, again. Anyway, my brain cannot go two directions at once. Anyway, see, now I forgot what I was saying. Oh, no emotional outbursts. Well, whenever she comes in and sits down, or when she comes in and sits down, you don't see her come in and sit down, but you kind of know that she is, because I think you can hear the bailiff or somebody talking to her about where to go or whatever. But the judge looks in that direction, and it's kind of like, he goes like that, like, and I'm thinking, oh, is she like giving him the evil eye? And does she look like she's fixing to say something to the defendant? I don't know, but I kind of got that feeling for a minute. Like, I'm going to rewind it, see what you guys think. Maybe it's just my imagination, but yeah. So she's coming in.
All right, we're back in the record. Case State of Ohio versus Robbi Robinson. CR 23050688, approximately 1:25 in the afternoon. The jury has been returned to the courtroom. Counsel and the defendant are present. State's next witness.
Next witness is Brianna Williams.
Oh, okay. Well, she hadn't entered yet. Now she's getting ready to. Looks like he's watching her walk in.
Please stand right here. Turn and face
Oh,
the jury.
hold on. I got a husband alert. Husband alert.
You swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give before this court and jury is true and accurate to the best of your ability and knowledge? Thank you. Have a seat. Would you like some water? There's a
It's got a twist now. There you go. Mrs. Williams, good afternoon. And you have the right not to be photographed or videotaped if you have objection to that. Do you have any objection to being videotaped or photographed?
No.
Very well. You may begin.
Good afternoon, Ms. Williams.
Good afternoon.
Would you state your name for the record and spell your last name, please?
Brianna Williams, Willilliams.
And Ms. Williams, what is your relationship to Brenda Scott?
I'm her eldest daughter.
And how old are you?
I'm 30.
And on May 11th of 2023, were you
So did
residing
you
with
guys
your
see
mother?
the look?
Yes.
Did you see the look he gave in that direction? Or am I imagining it? Let me know. Because he kind of gave a look like he was fixing to say something to somebody. I agree, Brenda. They're backwards on that whole thing. They need to ask them that question before they... You didn't see it, Morgana? Hold on. I'll rewind it one more time and then point it out. I would have a second ago, but husband literally walked in and I was talking to him for a brief second. Okay, hold on. Let me rewind it. Sorry.
Brianna Williams.
Yeah, he did. He stopped chewing his gum as well. Yeah. Hang on a minute, and I'll point it out when he does it. It looks like right now he's watching her walk into the courtroom.
Please stand right here. Turn and face the jury. Raise your right hand, please. You
Right
swear
there,
or affirm
kinda.
that the testimony you're about to give before this court and jury is true and accurate to the best of your ability and knowledge? Thank you. Have a seat. Would you like some
Yeah, he
water?
did it
There's a-
before he starts talking about turning the thing. Hold on. One more time for the record.
Please stand right here. Turn and face the jury. Raise your right hand.
Right here. Right there.
You swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give before this court and jury
See how he
is
goes?
true and accurate to the best of your ability and knowledge? Thank you. Have a seat. Would you like some water? There's a...
It's got a twist now.
He gave a look. I know, right? I don't know. I mean, because they had the whole thing about the outbursts, and she had apparently made noises earlier in the courtroom, and blah, 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 because they said something about that. And so I kind of have a feeling that when she is, like, close to him or can make eye contact, she's, like, showing attitude. You know what I mean? I can't say that I blame her. I mean, he killed her mother, right? But also, you kind of got to mind your P's and Q's when you're there. That would be the hardest thing to do, to maintain your composure. She's stronger than I think I could be. All right, now we'll continue on.
Williams, good afternoon. And you had the right not to be photographed or videotaped if you have objection to that. Do you have any objection to being videotaped or photographed?
Thank God you don't, because you already are.
You may begin.
Good afternoon, Ms. Williams.
Good afternoon.
Would you state your name for the record and spell your last name, please?
Brianna Williams, Willilliams.
And Ms. Williams, what is your relationship to Brenda Scott?
I'm her eldest daughter.
And how old are you?
I'm 30.
And on May 11th of 2023, were you residing with your mother?
Yes.
And how long had you been residing with her at that time?
I've lived with her for most of my life.
Okay. And during the time that you were residing with her, did she enter into a relationship with Robbi Robinson Sr.?
Yes.
Did Mr. Robinson come to your home and visit with your mother there?
Yes.
Did you meet him?
Yes.
Did you have an opportunity to observe their relationship?
Yes.
And how would you describe that relationship?
I'm going to object.
Overruled.
You can answer.
It was fine. She was happy. He was happy. We talked to him. He seemed like a good guy, so she was happy, we were happy.
Okay. Did you have any concerns about your mother being with Mr. Robinson?
No.
Okay. And was it your understanding that they were engaged?
Yes.
And were you aware of any plans for them to reside together?
Yes.
When did you become aware of those plans?
I'm going to object.
Sustained.
I'm not sure what the basis for that is.
Council approach. Go ahead, excuse me.
Sidebar City. Ouch.
No.
Were you going to continue residing with your mother?
No.
You were going to move out.
Yes.
Why were you going to move out?
I just wanted to live on my own for once.
Okay. When was the last time you saw your mother before May 11th of 2023?
The night before, May 10th.
You saw her on May 10th?
Mhm.
And may I approach the witness for a minute? I'm showing you a photograph that's been marked State's Exhibit 5. Are you familiar with that photograph?
Yes.
What is depicted in that photograph?
It's me and my mom smiling.
Okay, and is that photograph a true and accurate depiction of how your mother looked on May 10th?
Yes.
Permission to put State's Exhibit 5 into evidence, Judge, and publish to the jury?
Exhibit 5 will be admitted and may be published.
Just checking on that screen there, John, and then I'll publish it.
Just subject to what we discussed prior to.
The court will note the defendant's continuing objection.
So you saw your mother on May 10th,
Yes.
and what was her physical condition on May 10th?
Healthy?
Did she have any injuries?
No.
Overruled.
Did she have any broken teeth?
No.
Did she have any burns to her body?
No.
What kind of work did your mother do?
She was a nurse,
How long had she been a nurse?
all my life.
Okay. What kind of nurse was she?
She started as an LPN and then got her RN.
Okay. And did she obtain her RN while she was working?
Yes.
Overruled.
Thanks for sidebar.
You bet.
Thank you.
The one's got the hot look on
Another sidebar. Wow. Oh, I didn't notice that, Cherie. Cherie says she has her chair turned a little bit so she doesn't have to look at the defendant because I'm sure her blood pressure's through the roof.
When you're ready.
She's ready now. How did your mother meet Robbi Robinson Sr.?
They met at UC Westchester. They worked together.
And prior to May 11th of 2023, how long were you aware of them being in a relationship together?
For the duration of the relationship,
And I believe that just for the foundation, that's all I'm at. How does she know that?
Just staying.
Thank you.
Nice and foundation.
How long prior to May 11th of 2023 approximately was it that you met Mr. Robinson?
I want to say maybe around September
Of
the fall.
of
the previous
2022?
year. Yeah.
Okay. So a few months at the time of May.
Mm.
You indicated you were residing with your mother as of May 11th.
Yes.
Who else resided in the home with you?
My little sister.
And do you have any other siblings?
Yes, I have a brother.
And how old are your siblings?
Hakib's 29. Alana is 21.
Judge, I don't have additional questions for this witness.
Ross.
Good afternoon, Ms. Williams.
Good afternoon.
I'm going to try to stick to one subject, okay? I apologize. I'll try to go into the microphone. You had plans to move out, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And prior to that particular date, are you aware that there was an eviction filed?
No.
Okay, you would have been aware after that, correct? After May the 11th, sorry, 2021.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I have.
Redirect. Ms. Williams, thank you for your time. May be excused. It's my understanding, based upon the discussion, that you'll not be subject to being recalled and you can remain here in the court. Understood?
Yes.
Next witness is EMT Brennan Berger.
Sir, please stand right here. Turn and face the jury. Raise your right hand. You swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court and jury is true and accurate to the best of your ability and knowledge?
Good afternoon. Sir, you have the right not to be photographed or videotaped during the course of your testimony. Do you have any objection to being photographed or videotaped?
I do not.
Very well.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Would you state your name for the record and spell your last name, please?
Yep. My name is Brennan Thomas Berter, Berter.
And sir, where are you employed?
I am a
Oh, great questions, Miss King. She says this defendant looks bored in court. Do we know why they think he did this? Are we going to hear from the dad? I'm assuming we're going to hear from the dad. But I'm not positive. I don't know for sure. I'm just assuming we will. He does look bored in court. And the reason why they think that he did it is because he was the only one there at the home during the time. And his DNA was on the cigarette lighter, and only his DNA. And I think his DNA was on the water bottles that had the accelerant in it that he poured on her. He was seen trying to leave the house. They apprehended him. He had like soot on his hands. I mean, they didn't get along. Yeah. And she said he did it. I mean, there's that. She said he did it. 'Cause she didn't die instantly. She jumped out the second story window and told the neighbor that came over there to check on her that he did it. And she told the paramedic and the police officer that he did it. And he knocked her 2 front teeth out too, like in a physical altercation. Yeah, she did. She named him right off the bat, Morgana. Yeah. Yeah, she said that he did it. She said that he did it multiple times. So, okay, here we go. But I think his defense is, I think he's trying to go for an insanity defense. Yeah, Miss King. The reason is he did not like her. Yeah. They said in the opening statements the prosecution did that he wouldn't have anything to do with her. He was upset and mad because his dad and mom got a divorce, and he did not like this soon-to-be stepmom. But he, I think they said they had 2 competency hearings for this guy, and he was found competent both times. So, anyway.
a full-time firefighter paramedic for Fairfield Township Fire Department.
This dude right here cracks me up. I don't know what it is about him. I don't know if it's his stone cold face. Like, his face never changes. And he, I don't know, this dude just, he this dude he cracks me up. He's very enthusiastic without being enthusiastic, if that makes sense. I don't know how to explain it any better. He's very enthusiastic without showing enthusiasm. Anyway.
And how long have you been employed with the Fairfield Township Fire Department?
I've
Pretty
been
much.
employed by them for the last 8.5 years, with the last 5 of those being a full-time fireman.
Did you serve with any other fire agency prior to that service?
I did not.
And you mentioned you're a fireman and an EMT.
That is correct.
Those jobs, is that two types of jobs, or do they have separate training?
It is. So for Fairfield Township, we provide both. So we are all firefighter and a minimum of EMT basics. Some of us are paramedics, which I am. So to be a fireman, it is a minimum of 240 hours of in-class time. And to become an EMT basic, it is 150 hours. And then to become a paramedic, it is another 1,050 hours of classroom and clinical time. So totaling altogether being 1,200 hours for EMT time.
And have you served as a paramedic with Fairfield Township the entire time you've worked there?
No. The first 3 years was as an EMT basic, which included my time in medic school, and then the last 5 years has been as a medic.
And as a paramedic, are your job duties different?
Okay, just a heads up. Hold on a second. Let me see. This guy is on the stand for about 25, 30-ish minutes. And then I haven't seen past this. The next witness after this one, I've not seen that witness's testimony yet. But it is almost 1 o'clock. I got 3 minutes to get kiddo in front of the computer for her virtual math class. So I'm going to go do that. I'm just going to cut my camera and microphone off, and but I will be available to skip through breaks. If they happen to go to sidebar, I'll try to keep an eye out. But I have to turn the volume like all the way down so that her classroom doesn't hear a murder trial. You know? No, that's not good. Anyway, I'll be back momentarily. Okay? I'll see you guys in a few.
Different in the firehouse compared to what just a fireman EMT would do?
Yes, it is slightly different, only in the fact that I'm able to provide more treatments to patients.
Okay.
I'm able to give IVs and assess their heart and everything else.
Were you serving as a paramedic on May 11th of 2023?
Yes, I was.
Okay. When you're on shift, are you on shift with a crew?
Yes.
Okay. How many people are in that crew, and what would you be staffing?
So it all depends. As of right now, our minimum staffing at our fire headquarters is 6. So it is a shift commander, and then it is 3 people on our engine and 2 people on a medic unit. And then at our other station, it is the minimum staffing is 5, and that is 3 on the engine and 2 on the medic unit over there.
And were you serving on the medic unit that
Yes.
day, on May
Yes, I
11th?
was.
Okay. Were you dispatched to 2625 Arroyo Court?
Yes.
Do you know why you were dispatched there?
So our initial dispatch was for a burn victim. While we were en route, we were told that there was smoke visible coming from the 2nd floor of the house. So the acting officer on the engine that day upgraded it to a structural fire response.
I think I misstated the name of the address you were dispatched to. Was it
Arroyo Ridge.
Arroyo Ridge Court?
Yes.
I have trouble saying the word Arroyo, I'm sorry. It's, so it was dispatched as a injured person but became a structural fire?
Yes.
Okay. You arrived on scene in the medic unit?
Yes.
Was there any other first responder present when you arrived?
Yes, so my medic unit and one of our police officers pulled up at the same time. We were just ahead of him.
Okay. And where did you park in relation to the house?
So we parked in the cul-de-sac with the front of our medic unit facing the house, and we had kind of backed up to allow our engine to get in
Okay.
to the
And
front of the house.
were you in front of the driveway to the house or the
We
or
were
the side of the house?
slightly off to the right-hand side.
Okay. Could you see the entire front of the house when
Yes.
you pulled up? Did you notice anything about the house when you got there?
Yes, so when we initially pulled up, there was light smoke showing from the second floor of the house. I witnessed a person opening up the windows on the second floor of the house as we were getting out of the vehicle.
Could you identify that person?
I could not as when they were initially opening up the windows.
Okay. You just see movement?
Yeah, it appeared to be a person opening up windows.
Okay. And what did you do after you parked the medic vehicle?
So as soon as we parked, my EMT partner who was driving got out of the vehicle. I also got out of the vehicle and we started grabbing our EMS equipment knowing that we had a possible burn victim.
And so when you say you're gathering the equipment, what's entailed in that?
So for that case, we grabbed our first in bag, which has oxygen, it has stuff to be able to treat burns, bleeding, also has IV stuff so that we can give IVs. It also has medication administration stuff so that we're able to draw up medications and give those to patients.
So effectively everything you would need
Yes.
to service a burn victim?
Yes.
As you were gathering your equipment, did anyone approach you?
Yes, a male did exit the front door of the house.
How was that person dressed?
He was wearing a winter coat and long pants.
This is May we're talking about,
Yes.
right? What was the weather like that day?
It was sunny and roughly, from what I can remember, in the 70s.
What were you wearing?
I was wearing a shirt and pants,
And what type of shirt?
just a regular T-shirt that has our department logo on the front and back.
So not a coat?
No.
Did it seem odd to you that he was
Yes.
wearing a coat? Okay. Was it zipped up?
Yes.
Was the hood up?
Yes.
Were you able to see that person?
Yes.
Did that person say anything to you?
Yeah, when we were gathering the equipment and starting to head towards the patient, I heard him tell one of our captains, "I didn't mean to do it."
And how far away from you was he when he said that?
Approximately 50 feet.
Okay. Did you have any trouble hearing what he said?
I did not.
And were you able to see that person's face when he made that statement?
Yes.
Do you see that individual sitting in the courtroom today?
Yes.
Can you point him out and describe what he's wearing?
He is wearing the blue shirt, blue button-up shirt.
Record reflect identification of the defendant, Judge?
Record will so reflect.
Did you say anything to him or engage him in any way?
I did not.
And did you proceed to the back where the victim was?
Yes.
Okay. When you I may approach the witness, Judge. I'm showing you what's been marked Exhibit 4A. Does
Yes.
that exhibit depict accurately how you encountered the victim that morning?
Yes, that is a very accurate depiction of how we encountered the victim that morning.
So this is already an exhibit.
You may vote.
And as a paramedic, do you need to assess the people who have been injured that you're providing treatment to?
Yes, we do.
how do you assess them?
So we use a couple different methods of assessing patients. We use a verbal assessment, we use a visual assessment, and a physical assessment.
Okay. Why do you do a verbal assessment?
So we do a verbal assessment for a couple different reasons. One is to gain the patient's cognitive function, to make sure that they can make their own medical decisions at that time. The other reasons that we do it is to try and get a better understanding of what that person is experiencing at that time and how long they've been having it, and also get a good, accurate representation of their prior medical history. So whether they have asthma, diabetes, cardiac issues, prior strokes, anything like that, so that we can better understand how to treat the patient.
Okay. You said you do a verbal assessment, a
Yes.
physical assessment, what was the third one?
And a visual.
Visual, okay. What did your visual assessment of her tell you?
So when I got to her, she was laying face down in the yard. She had from what I could see, a very large portion of her body had second-degree burns. There was also a screen laying right next to her in the yard.
Okay. And are you doing the visual assessment and the verbal assessment before you actually do a physical assessment?
So we're kind of doing them all together. It's kind of a blended thing. After a while, you end up doing them very quickly and all at the same time.
Okay. In your verbal assessment, how did you verbally assess this victim?
So when I initially got to her, I asked her if she could hear me. She told me that she could. I asked her what happened. She stated,
Overruled.
Go ahead and answer.
she stated to me that a younger male punched her in her face, knocked out her teeth, and poured a flammable liquid on her and set her on fire.
Was she able to relate whether you were still at risk from that individual?
She was not.
Okay. Did she say how she came to be lying on the ground outside?
Yes. She told me that she was initially on the bed, and when she got set on fire, she ran to the bathroom and jumped out the second-story window.
As you're looking at the photo, her head is going down a slope.
That is correct.
Did that concern you?
Yes, it did.
Why did that concern you?
Because she was telling me that she was having difficulty breathing.
And could the slope contribute to that?
Yes.
Okay. And how did you physically assess her?
So I got her rolled over. We turned her. Due to the height that she fell, because the house has a walkout basement, it was more like a 3-story fall instead of a 2-story. So I was checking her lower extremity. I checked her hips to make sure that they were stable so that we could roll her. I also checked her spine and her neck.
Okay. And you said you needed to roll her.
Yes.
Why did you need to roll her?
So that she was no longer laying on her stomach and compressing her lungs, so that she could attempt to breathe better.
Okay. Did you need to change the orientation of her
Yes.
body? Why did you need to do that?
So that we could get her head above the rest of her body.
As you rolled her, were you able to see her face?
Yes.
What did you see about her face?
So she had burns to her face, and she had singed hair about halfway up her head. She also had soot and burn injuries to her nose and mouth. She also had bleeding coming from the mouth, and some of her front teeth were missing and cracked.
Okay. And did she attribute the cracked and missing teeth to the fall from the window?
No.
How did she say that happened?
She said that she got punched in the face, which broke her teeth out.
And you had an opportunity there to observe her back.
Yes.
Did you estimate how much of her body had burn injury?
Yes, so initially our quick assessment was anywhere between 40 to 50% of her body was burned.
Okay. And there's a mention of degree of burn.
Yes.
Can you describe what that means?
Yes, so Your first degree burns are gonna be like a sunburn. A second degree, a typical second degree is gonna be your dark red skin and slight bubbling. A second degree full thickness means that it is burnt the good majority of the skin, but it is not charred yet. It is starting to become white and slightly ashy in color.
And how did you assess her burns?
They were second degree full thickness.
And what does that mean to you in terms of the treatment you need to provide her then?
So with second degree full thickness burns, they're gonna be extremely painful. We also have to worry about her losing heat, and we also have to worry about trying to get enough fluid in her in case she has lost fluid due to those burns.
And after you rolled her over, were you able to assess the front of her body?
Yes.
And what did you note as far as injuries on the front of her
So
body?
the front of her body, she had burns to her upper torso, upper extremities, lower extremities, chest, abdomen. She had burns to her face.
And how did you, what degree of burn did you assess?
They were also second degree full thickness burns.
So once you rolled her and assessed her, what did you do to treat her?
So we did that initial roll and twisted her so that we could get her head above the rest of her body. She was telling us that she was having difficulty breathing and she had a history of asthma. So we placed her on high flow oxygen so that her breathing would be a little bit easier. And then another medic unit arrived on scene, so they assisted me with obtaining IVs. We obtained 2 IVs, 1 in each arm. We gave her pain meds and we started fluids.
May I approach the witness, Judge? You may. Showing you 3 photographs marked as State's Exhibit 7, 8, and 9. Are you familiar with the subject matter of those photographs?
Yes, I am.
And do those photographs accurately capture the treatment that's ongoing with Ms. Scott at the scene of her injuries?
Yes, they are.
Permission to place 7, 8, and 9 into evidence, Judge, and publish to the jury?
Defense wishes to be heard.
Yes, sir.
7, 8, and 9 will be admitted and may be published.
Ready, John?
Can you see on your screen the photograph?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Do you see yourself in that photo?
I am in the middle of the guy that is bald and the one wearing the hat. Kneeled down next to the
Can you
patient.
point to it?
Yes. John, I have the annotator fixed. If you
Oh,
want.
you do? You might be able to
Yeah.
point on the screen.
Okay. Yeah, it's not no longer on the screen.
It'll come back up.
Okay.
You should be able to just draw on the screen.
Okay.
Once you draw the
It's,
circle.
it's still blank.
It isn't showing?
His-
It
there
is
it
now
is.
showing.
And what are you doing with regards to her treatment at that point?
So at that time, I was making sure that she was secured to the backboard that we had put her on, so that we could pick her up and get her on the cot that is shown lower on the hill.
And I'm showing you. Exhibit 8. Are we able to erase the end?
Yeah, I have to. I'll show you how to do this. I'm sure you'll be able to do it next time.
Back.
Yeah, you just go there and then clear.
Okay.
And do you see yourself in that photograph?
Yes, I do.
Okay. This appears to be before she's on the backboard?
Yes, it was.
And what are you doing with regards to her treatment?
So at that time, I was giving her one of the 2 IVs.
And why were the IVs necessary?
Due to the burns that she had, we were gonna give her pain meds before we moved her.
Okay. And, exhibit 9. Do you see yourself in that photograph?
Yes, I do.
Which set of hand, where are you in the photograph? Sorry.
I'm right here.
And what stage of her treatment is that depicting?
So that was towards the initial portion of her treatment. At that time, my EMT basic partner was handing me the IV, which is right here in his hand. He had just opened up the package, and I was getting ready to start an IV on her.
Okay. And are burns visible in that photograph?
Yes, there are.
Can you identify where those are?
Yes. They are here, here, and there, and there. Along with on her hands as well.
And can you assess those burns as
Yes,
second degree full thickness?
that is correct.
So after placing her on the backboard and getting her oriented where it was easier to breathe,
Yes.
what decision was made with regards to where she would be transported and what her care should be?
Okay. So the 2 medics that were on Hamilton's Medic 25, me and the 2 medics decided that based off of her burn injuries and the possibility due to it being a flammable liquid that set her on fire and her having the difficulty breathing, that the best treatment for her was to be taken to air care.
And did you cause her to be transported to air care?
Yes.
Who transported her there?
So our medic unit was blocked in by the fire units and fire hose. So we pulled Medic 25's cot out of their medic unit and put Medic 212's cot in theirs, and I went with them to the landing zone where air care was going to be landing.
Okay. And you personally transferred care to air care?
Yes.
After going on a run, what does the fire department and EMS service do to document the service that's been provided and record how the personnel performed?
Yes. So in the regards of a fire run, there is a NIFRS report, so a National Fire Incident Report. For an EMS run, it is called an EPCR, so an Electronic Patient Care Report. So every run that we make, either one of those 2 is completed.
Okay.
For this case, both were completed, and I filled out the EPCR.
Okay. And what parts of the EPCR form do you compile?
So the only thing that was not filled out by me was the times that we were dispatched for the run, when we got on scene, when we left the scene, when we arrived at air care. Otherwise, everything else was completed by me.
Okay. And may I approach, Judge?
Okay. Can I meet the person in this as well?
Yes.
so. So you were testifying about the report that you compile.
Yes,
Did you review all the documentation regarding this run?
yes, I did.
And did the report that you compiled accurately represent the treatment that was provided to Ms. Scott?
Yes, it did.
And your testimony today summarizes that report.
Yes,
And after completing that report was effectively the run was over for you?
yes, at that time it was.
I don't have additional questions for this witness.
Thank you. Ross?
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Just briefly, in the very beginning, first of all, how did you get there? What car, what transport did you get there from?
So I was assigned to Medic 212, and that was the unit that we took to that scene.
So I'm not familiar with all of your terms. What kind of vehicle is Medic 212?
So it is an ambulance.
Okay, so you're in an ambulance. Now, when you get to the scene, the first thing that you do is you're getting stuff out of, I'm gonna guess, is it the back of the ambulance?
So I actually got stuff out of the side door. So where some of our equipment is located, I'm able to open up a door on the side of the vehicle without actually entering into the back of it and pull stuff right out of the side. And that's where I was grabbing the equipment from.
Okay, and if you're facing the front of the vehicle, what side of the vehicle is that on?
It is on the right side.
Okay, it's on the right side of the vehicle. Okay, and
Oh, you said if I'm
You're
facing the front?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
If I'm facing the front, it's on the left side. It is on the passenger side.
Okay, and I'm not sure I've seen a picture where that ambulance is, but you'd agree with me that, I think you've already even said it, in that cul-de-sac, you had the fire truck?
At that time, no. The fire truck was not there when we arrived on scene.
So you told me that, or you testified that Robbie gave a statement, correct?
Say that again?
Robbie, he gave a statement, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And who was the individual he gave it to?
He gave it to our inspection captain.
What's your inspection captain's name?
His name is Jordan Peters.
Jordan Peters, okay.
Yes.
So, and Jordan Peters arrived in the fire truck?
No, he arrived just after Stebbins in a personal vehicle. It's a pickup truck.
Okay. And so, is there that's a big question. Have you seen any of the videos from this incident?
Yes.
Okay. And I believe one of them, Jordan Peters,
Yes.
is walking right next to Mr. Robinson, is that correct? That
Yes.
Robinson over there, correct?
Yep.
And behind them, it appears that that's the fire truck. Am I-
No.
That is the ambulance?
The one off to the right-hand side is the ambulance. Yes.
Okay. And then you are facing the front of the ambulance on the left side of that ambulance?
Yes.
Okay. And you estimate that you were 50 feet away from Mr. Robinson?
Yes. When he made the statement, I was walking towards the back of the house. So I was about where the passenger door was of the vehicle, looking at the house.
Okay. Now you're getting to where I want. So if you're facing the house, you're going on the left side of the house?
If I'm looking at the house, we went to the right side of the house is where the victim was found.
Okay, then I mistake what you just said about the car. You're getting stuff out of the left side of the ambulance, correct?
Yes, it is the very first door behind the passenger door.
Okay. And if you're facing the house, you then walk to the right side of the house?
That is correct.
Okay.
Down to the victim.
And you've seen that video that has Jordan Peters and Mr. Robinson walking next to each other?
Yes.
Okay. And you're not in that video, correct?
No, I'm covered up by the front of the medic unit.
Okay. You're covered up by the front of the medic unit?
Yes.
Okay. And you say, at this point, is there sirens going on?
No, we had turned our sirens off. There might have been sirens from the other incoming units, but they were not from us.
Okay. And a lot's going on at that point.
No, because our
Nothing's
engine was
going on?
out, was already out, so it took
Okay.
them a minute to get
All
there
right.
before.
But the end of the story is you estimate you're at least 50 feet away.
Yes,
And if you're 50 feet away, yeah, I don't see anywhere in here that'd be 50 feet. He said it loud enough for you to hear. Was he
Yes.
yelling it?
it wasn't a yell, but it was not an inside voice. It was a pretty sturdy statement.
Okay. And did he say what he meant by that?
He did not. All I
Okay.
heard,
Did he say more than one statement to Jordan Peters?
not that I know of.
He just said one statement to Jordan Peters.
Yes, that I know of.
Thank you. I have nothing further.
Redirect.
How certain are you that he made that statement?
100%.
No further questions, Judge.
Recross?
Yes, sir.
All right. Officer Berger, thank you very much for your time. You may be excused. What's your step?
You're very welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you doing all right? Be moving forward. Next witness.
Mr. Honor, this witness is longer. I'm more than happy to start. Do you want me to start and then we
Yes.
pause?
Next
Okay.
witness.
Say would like to call Officer Corey Stebbins. I know, I thought this would be a good time to do it, but.
We've only been here 45 minutes.
I think someone needed to take a break.
That's okay.
Somebody needs a break. Take a break. I don't want to be unreasonable.
The only thing I will say is I do expect this next officer to take quite an extensive period of time.
He's longer.
So now, like, would be a good time to stop, take a break, and then come back, because we're gonna be at it for a while. Rather than right in the middle.
Does somebody need a break? I'll accept that logic. The rest of it, not.
Thank you.
You guys had a
Very
good
well.
look
In
at
light
it.
of the circumstances, we're going to recess for 15 minutes, Rick. Tell the witness we'll be ready in 15 minutes. In the meantime, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, during the course of our break, remember and abide by all the admonitions that are shared with you. Raise your hand if you do not recall all the admonitions that I've shared with you many, many times in the last 3 days. No one's raised their hand, so there's a clear understanding that they apply and the jurors understand those restrictions. So all rise to excuse our jury. All right. Let's stand in recess.
Somebody want to say? Judge West.
Oh, the record's still going. I don't know how to turn that off.
I don't know either. I know, right? Okay.
Okay, I am back. Looks like just in time too, because they're heard him say they were taking a short 15-minute break. All right. And here we go. Just scooch this on till we get to where we need to be. There's Daddy Warbucks. Seriously, that blows my mind. Yay, Margaret! So far, so good. Chat later. Yay! Thank you. Thank you for the update, ma'am. Love you.
Please stand right here, turn and face the jury. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court and jury is true and accurate to the best of your ability and knowledge? I do. Thank you, sir.
Officer Stephens, please have a seat.
Thank you, Judge.
I swear, I don't see how these police officers run and do all the things they have to do with them that much gear on, man.
No, Your Honor, that's fine.
Go on, make yourself comfortable. If you need to move up or move the microphone to you. I know you fell on it. Try not to get yourself wedged in there. Good. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Go on and introduce yourself to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury. State your name and who you work for.
I'm Officer Corey Stebbins, and I work for the Fairfield Township Police Department.
And how long have you been with the Fairfield Township Police Department?
A little over 17 and a half years.
And what are your general job duties?
I'm a road patrol officer, so I handle calls for service that vary in nature. Responding to calls for service, traffic crash, investigations.
Do you have any additional job duties?
Yes, ma'am. I am a evidence tech. I am a certified armorer.
I don't really know for sure, Donnie. I think he's trying to claim, like, insanity defense.
Yes, ma'am. Prior to me becoming a police officer, I spent 4 years in the U.S. Navy as a shipboard firefighter. I attended a 2-week course at the Miami Valley Crime Lab as an evidence technician. Sorry. I also attended a 1-week post-blast reconstruction certification with the Butler County Bomb Squad and a 1-week course at incident response to terrorist bombings in Socorro, New Mexico.
I'd like to turn your attention to the morning of May 11th, 2023. Were you working that morning?
Yes, ma'am.
And what shift were you?
Day shift,
What hours are that?
6:45 a.m. to 3:15 p.m.
And were you directed to respond to a call at 2625 Arroyo Ridge Court?
Yes, ma'am.
What was that call for?
The call initially came out as a person that had been set on fire.
And what were you doing at the time you received that information?
I was assisting our detectives with a unrelated arrest and follow-up to one of their investigations.
Did you go ahead and respond to the call?
Yes, ma'am.
And approximately how long did it take you to arrive or get to Arroyo Ridge Court?
About 5 minutes.
And as you were driving to Arroyo Ridge Court, was the run updated in any way?
Yes, ma'am. While I was responding, the call was updated to a structure fire.
Is 2625 Arroyo Ridge Court in Butler County, state of Ohio?
Yes, ma'am.
And were you the first responding police officer to arrive?
Yes, ma'am.
Where did you go upon first arriving at that scene?
Upon parking my cruiser, I ran to the side yard to get to the back of the residence.
And who or what did you see when you first got there?
There was a gentleman in the back of the yard who was later confirmed to be the 911 caller, directed me to the rear of the residence.
And could you describe the physical state, or did you see anyone else there once you got to the back of the residence?
Yes, ma'am.
Who?
I observed the victim lying face down on her stomach with her head turned on an incline. She was severely burned.
And are you able to describe her in any further detail to the jury?
Yes, ma'am. She was missing part of her hair, other hair on her head that was also melted. As I kneeled down to talk to her, she had observed that he had knocked out her teeth, and I could also see blood. Appeared to be blood on her bottom lip and chin.
At some point, were you directed to another person on scene?
Yes, ma'am.
And tell us a bit about that.
I was directed by firefighters pointing to a male subject in his 20s, mid-20s. I believe I remember them saying that, hey, he just came out of the house. I observed a male wearing a heavy coat with a hood up.
And did this have an impression upon you, seeing this male dressed the way he was?
Yes, ma'am, if I remember, it was 74, 75 degrees that day.
Do you remember how you in particular were dressed?
I believe I was wearing short sleeve shirts and I'm dressed as I am now.
Okay.
Uniform, heavy vest, with all of the gear and equipment required by me by policy and procedure.
Okay. But you're in long sleeves right now.
Yes, ma'am.
What length of sleeve were you in back in May 11, on May 11, 2023?
I would believe it was short sleeve.
Okay. Did the individual that you were pointing to, directed to, did he match a description that was being broadcasted over the radio calls?
Yes, dispatch had advised that it was a male by the name of Robbi, 24 years of age.
What, if anything, did you do when you laid eyes on this particular person?
I directed the individual to come to me, and I subsequently detained the individual.
What does detained mean?
Given the fact that I had a victim lying with injury, I've been told that the individual just came out of a house with a heavy jacket on, most likely involved with a fire. I detained the individual. I was by myself. I had no idea how far I had any backup coming, so I went ahead and detained that individual.
Okay.
Placed him in handcuffs, and while doing so, after the fact, I patted him down, asked him his name, and he confirmed that his name was Robbi, which matched up with what I was advised through dispatch.
Okay. Does the Fairfield Township Police Department have body-worn cameras?
Yes, ma'am.
And what are body-worn cameras, or BWCs?
So body-worn cameras record audio, video.
You're pointing to yourself.
I apologize. I'm pointing to a body-worn camera that I'm actually wearing right now. It is not on.
Okay.
It is policy of Fairfield Township Police Department that all uniformed officers, and depending on what the detectives are doing, to have them on their person.
And did you have yours on back on May the 11th, 2023?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have the opportunity to review it in preparation for today's trial?
Yes, ma'am.
And I'd like to show you State's Exhibit 4. Permission to approach the witness. I'm handing you what's been marked as... Calm down, everyone. I'm handing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 4. Could you identify that for the record, please? Oh, my, hold on. I got excited. Let's try that again. 4.
Yes, ma'am.
Does that look familiar to you?
Yes, ma'am.
And how does that look familiar to you?
It appears to be a DVD showing Officer Stepmon's first BWC redacted.
Okay. And in fact, we have viewed this together in preparation for trial. Did this appear to be a fair and accurate copy of your body cam of your very first response to Arroyo
Yes,
Ridge
ma'am.
Court?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Your Honor, at this time, the state would move State's Exhibit 4 into evidence.
Defense wishes to be heard?
Yes, could we just have a quick sidebar?
Yes. Excuse us, ladies and gentlemen.
Another sidebar.
It's going to be the laptop. Your Honor, for the case, both parties have discussed this, and although it is on a disc, it is easier to play it from the laptop, so there is those hesitations from the disc player.
Any
Is that still
objection to
okay?
Making that accommodation? Yes, sir. Very well.
We switched to laptop.
Exhibit 4 is admitted, may be published.
He does look uncomfortable, Brenda. I agree. Just a little trigger warning here. Just a trigger warning. I say little, but it's not. Shouldn't be little. Big trigger warning here. Big trigger warning. You're going to see, the victim briefly. Briefly.
Give me 1 minute.
And I'm only sitting down to get this going. Stand up.
Do you need any shoes or anything? Easy, easy, easy.
For the record, I am stopping the body worn camera. Could you identify for the jury the starting point of this BWC? Where are you? Where is the start of this BWC?
I was in the city of Hamilton assisting the investigators with an arrest on an unrelated follow-up investigation to this specific case.
Okay, so consistent to your testimony, you have not received the run yet that gets us going into this case.
Correct.
Okay.
Officer, can you?
Was that one just?
I'm sorry?
Can you see that on your screen?
Yes, sir.
Oh.
Take this so it doesn't break, okay? I'll give it back to you. Okay. So. Good, good. Just transport a little bit.
Squad right, 2625 Arroyo Ridge, for a female burn victim, being male and has set her on fire.
Oh, shit. Get her out. Get her out. Go to that. Get out. Here's his phone, so he doesn't drop it. Go to that. Enter. Go ahead.
Copy 10-650, that house is now on fire also.
Six 644, see if Liberty's got any extra on my way to help me until the morning I use it. 44 Imperial suspects through TL. I'll meet you guys over there. We're on our way back. Pretty sure the process is kind of holding back. Ways to go at those states to Oregon Ridge. Here too. They were looking for the suspects on that fire. As of right now, we don't know where he's at. He's on police side road, city road driver. That's fair. What's the address on it? 2625 Arroyo Ridge. There's a business nurse down here on Princeton Wales. Nearby, near the starting at Princeton, this whole area is Arroyo Ridge. That's clear. Go ahead and that way, go ahead and be advised. We're looking at the airport now. That's clear. It's the other side. Crap. Is on Stepmom. 1032. In the back. Six before I got the female in the back. Severe burns control. Give me an off channel. Sir, we're... Honey, stay with me. I'm Officer Stebbins, so stay with me, okay? I got the medics that coming to get you right now.
I gotta breathe.
Huh?
I gotta breathe.
Okay.
I can't breathe. They got my feet out. Oh.
Okay. Who's he, honey? Come to me now. Okay.
I don't know what happened. It just went off, bro. I try to...
Stop. Well, I'll find out what's going on.
All right. What happened?
Is there anybody else in the house? Who?
My stepmother.
Your stepmother jumped out the back.
Oh, she did?
Yes. What's your name?
Robbi.
Robbi?
Yeah.
Okay. 6 before I got the suspect. In custody. Stop. I'll explain in a minute, okay? Just chill out. She's in the very back because you got somebody. Yeah, it's back. Are those too tight on you, Robbi?
No, they're good.
She says she needs her inhaler out of the house. She's burned bad. need medical treatment? You breathing okay? Okay. Listen, I got a whole hot mess right now. So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to sit you back here with me for a minute, okay? I got some other guys coming.
53, 52, sunrise view, 5352, sunrise view.
I'll do that back in a minute. Have a seat back here for me, okay? You sure those aren't too tight? You okay? All right, I got a lot going on. Give me a minute.
I have a few follow-up questions for that State's Exhibit 4. When you first arrived on scene and went running out of your cruiser, it sounded like you were talking to somebody and you were saying in the back. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Who were you talking to? Not necessarily a name, but were you talking to an ambulance?
Yes,
or-
I was trying to be loud enough so they could hear me.
Okay. And then we saw on your body cam a gentleman behind the fence or near the fence, maybe in blue.
Yes.
Do you know, and again, you don't have to remember name, but do you remember who that person was?
I believe his name was Dennis Williams, and he was later confirmed as the 911 caller.
Okay, all right. And then we saw on body cam the person that you put in detention. We saw that you unzipped that coat
Yes.
type thing. Why did you do that?
It's a Terry pad to make sure there weren't any potential knives or other weapons on him. I was by myself. It was an officer safety issue. I wanted to ensure that he didn't have anything on him.
And we also saw maybe something that perhaps you took out of a pocket
Yes,
on
ma'am.
that individual. What was that you took out?
A cell phone, ma'am.
And we'll get to that a little bit later, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, does the Fairfield Township Police Department also have cruiser camera video in their vehicles?
Yes, ma'am.
And could you explain to the jury what those are?
So the cruiser cams, if you look at at least our specific vehicles, you will see a camera that sits down by the rear view mirror of the vehicle. It is activated by when an officer activates the lights, the overhead emergency activated lights on the cruiser with the red and blue lights, that will kick on, and in doing so, it also activates our body-worn cameras. And it will record the interior of the car and the back seat, and it'll also record the front view.
And when they record, is it fair to say the front recording is called Stream 1 and the backward in the back of your vehicle is called Stream 3 for some reason?
That is up to the admin and how
Okay.
the tech set it up. I do not know.
Were your cruiser cams activated on May 11, 2023?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you review your cruiser video in preparation for today's trial, both front and back?
The front, yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 10. Permission to approach the witness.
Granted.
Thank you. Now, here's 10.
Yes, ma'am.
And could you identify what State's Exhibit 10 is?
It is Officer Stebbins' cruiser cam, Stream 1,
Okay.
Exhibit 10.
And is this the video the forward-facing video that we reviewed in preparation for trial? Is you in particular?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And did that appear to be a fair and accurate copy of your cruiser cam video
Yes, ma'am.
from May 11, 2023?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Your Honor, at this time, the state would move State's Exhibit 10 into evidence.
Just counsel wish to object.
Just note the same objection, continuing objection.
Noted. State's Exhibit 10 will be admitted and may be published.
Thank you. Again, while this is on disc, the state would like to play it off of the laptop for ease of.
Any objection?
No, sir.
Permission granted.
Let the record reflect that instead of beginning at the very beginning of this, we would like to fast forward it to minutes 7:22.
Any objection?
No, sir.
Granted.
I hope so, Brenda.
So,
I hope so. I noticed it was I don't know if you guys noticed or not, but whenever he was talking to the victim when he first got up to her um, in the backyard, he said, "Oh, honey." You know, he called her honey. I just thought it was sweet, you know. Um, Donnie, I'm going to type in the chat just because from this point forward, I don't know what to expect as far as what we see on the videos or photos or anything for that matter, because I haven't been beyond this part in testimony. The only thing I know is that on day 2, whenever I was looking through, like kind of scanning through the video for day 2, I noticed the blue, lots and lots of blue. So, where they turned the camera off for the biggest chunk of the day. So, anyway, let's get back to this real quick. I think this is just, it's from the front windshield camera. So we only see what happens at the front of the house in this one.
I have not
Pretty
started,
sure.
well, I accidentally started playing it, but we're at the very beginning. Does this appear to be the beginning of your May 11, 2023 cruiser camera video?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And I'm going to fast forward this to the best I can. 27 minutes. 22 seconds. Well, I'm almost there. I think I am 7 minutes or so in. Are you out of the vehicle already?
Yes, ma'am.
I've paused the video for the record. I'd like to backtrack for just a moment. You're arriving, and I'd like to direct your attention when you park, if you could look at the house in question, at the second floor windows, if you see any of the curtains moving. Do you?
Yes, ma'am.
Which one?
If you look, you see the light pole, you see the front door, the window directly above it.
And I think, Mr. Labuno, is this activated to where we can circle things?
Just a second. Give it a second to refresh.
Yes, sir. Hold on for 1 second, please.
Yes, ma'am.
I drew on it. Hold on, hold up.
See, the button says clear.
Yes, I'll clear my squiggle. Are you able to circle the window that you saw where there was movement of a curtain?
On this video, right
Yeah.
there, ma'am?
Okay, thank you. And now I'll just clear that. And then do you, as we continue on with the video playing, do you see someone exiting out of the front of the home?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And we'll continue on from here. What was that individual just doing with his arms?
Placing them up, ma'am, like so.
For the record, is he near somebody?
Yes, ma'am.
Who is that person?
Jordan Peters with the Fairfield Township Fire Department.
And do you see yourself on your cruiser camera?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
What are you now having interaction with that same person who just came out of the home?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
What are you doing?
I am placing the defendant in handcuffs
Okay.
to secure him.
So now, is it fair to say we're just seeing a different perspective from your body cam? We're kind of seeing from a different view
Yes, ma'am.
of you detaining him.
Yes, ma'am.
Sure those aren't too tight, you okay? All right, I got a lot going on, give me a minute. All right.
Was anybody else in your cruiser at that point in time other than the person that you had just detained?
No, ma'am. I'm a single unit officer. I did not have a partner. The only other individual in my vehicle at that time was the defendant.
So anyone making any noises in there came from the person that you detained?
Yes, ma'am.
And looking around the courtroom today, do you see the person that you detained?
Yes, ma'am. The defendant sitting here in the blue shirt with his defense attorneys.
Let the record reflect identification of the defendant.
So reflect.
Thank you. How did you take any safeguards to make sure that the defendant was not able to just pop out of your vehicle and run away?
Yes, ma'am. I secured and locked the doors. The windows were rolled up.
Okay. And did you make sure that it wasn't going to be too hot, too cold in the vehicle for him?
Once I had Just got him secured, I moved the vehicle. Officer Trenton Smith was the first uniformed officer to arrive, and I had passed him off to Officer Smith to keep an eye on him and to help watch him and make sure he was okay.
Okay, all right. Along the same lines of the forward-facing cruiser camera, were your cruiser camera videos working facing behind?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And were those activated as well? That activated as well?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and just for authentication purposes, I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 12. Permission to approach a witness.
Granted.
And what is State's Exhibit 12?
State Exhibit 12 is my cruiser cam stream 3.
Okay. And is that the backwards facing or the cruiser camera facing video for the back seat?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, at this time, the state moves State's Exhibit 12 into evidence.
All right, noting the defense objection, the court will admit State's Exhibit 12 that may be published.
Thank you. I'm only going to play just a second of it just to show this so I can authenticate it with you. I'm not going to play the whole thing, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Again, may I use
You need to see this?
the laptop, please?
Okay.
Not this, the
I have
laptop.
it ready. You cue it up. Say when I do one.
Yes, sir. Does,
I'm sorry, we ready?
ready?
I didn't hear you.
Ready? Does that appear to be a fair and accurate rendition of your cruiser camera video from May 11, 2023, from the back of your cruiser camera?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I'm done. You made mention of Officer Trenton Smith. At some point in time, it sounds like, or can we infer, he arrived on scene.
Yes, ma'am.
Is he also a Fairfield Township police officer?
Yes, ma'am.
And is it fair to say you assigned him a responsibility, if you will?
Yes, ma'am.
Could you explain that to the jury, please?
Yes. After the defendant had been placed in the back of my cruiser, Officer Smith had responded to that area while I was still trying to assist fire department personnel, secure the scene and everything else. I wanted to make sure that there was an officer that could stand by to assist the defendant in case he had any issues or needed to talk or just basically monitor his safety and well-being to make sure he was okay.
Okay. And you had also indicated that you needed to move, or you moved your cruiser. Could you explain to the jury why you did that?
Yes, as you saw with the fireman who was in the driver's side and the engine pointing to my cruiser to move it, it was so they could get equipment in, start running hoses, and start beginning entry into the residence for firefighting operations. And
Okay. Where did you move your cruiser to?
I believe I backed it up and just kind of went around to get out of the way.
Sure. Okay.
So more emergency personnel, fire departments could get there.
As others started arriving to the scene, paramedics, firefighters, Officer Trenton Smith, etc., did other Fairfield police officers, detectives, sergeants arrive to the scene as well?
Yes, Detective Sergeant McCroskey responded and
Okay.
arrived on scene.
And how did your job responsibilities shift, if they did?
At that point, I gave an update on Sergeant McCroskey about the occurrences of the incident, what I saw, what had occurred, and basically where we stood as far as a response to that time till he got there.
Okay. And did you do anything to monitor the firefighters or in the situation with the fire?
Yes, ma'am, I just kind of took a support role at that point to see, since we had other manpower on scene to assist with the defendant, any direction I took from Detective Sergeant McCroskey to assist the fire department, scene security, things such as that.
And eventually, as the fire died down, did you enter the residence with firefighter David Kaiser with your body camera turned on?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And for what purpose was that?
To show, firefighter David Kaiser wanted to show me the source or origins of the fire, where they located it, and to observe, they had observed teeth in the master bedroom.
I'm just going to object as to the term "they" when he's testifying on behalf of the firefighter.
Sustained.
Thank you.
Okay. Why did you enter the home with firefighter Kaiser without saying what firefighter Kaiser was saying to you? What was your purpose of going into the home that first time with Kaiser?
Good
I'm not
deal,
quite sure I
Donnie.
understand
God
that.
love your heart.
Why did you go into the home with Kaiser? What was your purpose?
To go in, secure the residence, to observe the origins of fire, and get a general walk down of the
Donnie's like-
residence, and at one point also ascertain if there is anyone else in the residence.
Donnie's like, okay, I don't want any visuals today. Today, I'm going to use the Crime Cafe as a podcast. For your listening pleasure. Oh, Pilola's still listening. Hey, Pilola.
Okay. And did you have your body cam on again?
Yes, ma'am.
Your body camera, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And is it fair to say that if you turn your body cam on and off, it creates different videos, if you will? It's not one long, great big video. It
Correct.
breaks up into different videos.
Yes, ma'am, that is correct. Every time that we turn the body cam off, from the time that we turn it on to the time we turn it off is one segment of video, and then we activate it again. It begins a different segment with record date and time. And
Okay. So I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 13. Permission, approach a witness.
Granted.
okay. This is State's Exhibit 13, marked Officer Stebbins, second body worn camera with Kaiser.
Okay.
Redacted.
Redacted?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Your Honor, at this time, the state would, and did you review this in preparation for trial?
Yes, ma'am.
And as the redacted, did you review this? And it doesn't have any words, no conversation between you and firefighter Kaiser is on this video?
Correct, it is not.
Okay. Your Honor, at this time, the state would move State's Exhibit 13 into evidence.
Noting defense continuing objection, Exhibit 13 will be admitted and may be published.
Thank you. I'm ready for this to be published, sir. Officer Stebbins, is this your second body cam, if you will, with firefighter David Kaiser?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that firefighter Kaiser right there?
Yes, ma'am. You can see he has his name on the back of his ear.
Okay. And we have redacted all sound because you talk with him and that's not admissible, right?
Correct.
Okay. And is this you following him through?
Yes,
that
ma'am.
house? Okay. So let me stop for a moment and I just want to
Okay, let me just stop for a moment and say, Dad or Mom, ex-wife, whoever, not the victim, because they weren't married and she wasn't even living here. She just spent the night, the fiance. But whoever was in charge of the color palette of the interior, Whoa. That's all I'm saying. Whoa.
Point out a couple of things with you only. As you walked the scene with firefighter Kaiser, were you taken to the master bedroom, or did you go to the master bedroom?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you find or see with your own eyes anything of interest to you, especially as an officer and as an evidence technician, as you told the jury in your background information?
Yes, ma'am.
What?
Well, I was taken to show the origins of the fire. As you look at the bed, standing at the foot of the bed, the headboard would be here. To the right, I saw firefighter Kaiser had pointed out that in front of the closet, the right side of the bed, and on the mattress. And while I was also up there, we discovered 2 teeth with the roots attached and a blue Bic lighter in the master bedroom.
Allow me to, for the record, go to 11:09:11 of your body cam. And had the electric been turned off to the bed, to the master bedroom?
Yes, ma'am.
So is it, was it easy to see things or not see things in there?
It just depends, ma'am.
Okay. Were you using a flashlight?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I'm gonna start playing from 11:09:04 because I'll try to stop it. So I've tried to stop. You can use, I think, is the touch screen okay? If you want to circle anything that helps your testimony regarding teeth. Right. And then, oh, there, okay. All right. Are those the 2?
Yes, ma'am.
Got it. And then, oh, let's clear that here. Do you see the clear button?
Yes, ma'am. I just took care of it.
Oh, you did? Okay. And then you also made mention of a Bic lighter that had caught your attention. For the record, I'd like to go to 11:09:52. I'm at 11:09:48. I'll just start here. I'll try and stop. What are you doing here?
I'm circling the Bic lighter
Yes.
that was underneath the door above the carpet. The chrome end was sticking on the outside.
Should I try and go back a little? I didn't do it very.
Run it back for a second, ma'am.
Yes.
Pause it. Just a little,
What?
sorry. Right there. Yes, ma'am.
And where was that in conjunction to the master bedroom that you were just in?
When you walk into the master bedroom, the bed and the dresser were to the left. The master bathroom was to the right.
Okay. And did you see anything that caught your attention in there?
Yes, ma'am.
And could you explain to the jury what you saw in there?
In the master bathroom, it was a stand-in, like shower tub. And on the tile wall, I saw what appeared to be blood droplets, a bloody handprint on the wall above the tub. The window was open, and there appeared to be skin or hair on the inside of the windowsill.
And was there an actual window screen still in the window space?
No, ma'am.
Did you take photographs of the items inside the home that you had just mentioned, just testified to in there?
No, ma'am.
Could you explain to the jury why not?
Detective Sergeant McCroskey was going to be filing for a search warrant, and I was advised that an arson team was en route responding.
And when you say arson team, are you talking about the Ohio Fire Marshals?
Yes, ma'am.
To your knowledge, was a search warrant eventually signed by a judge?
Yes, ma'am.
And did the search warrant get executed? Were you present when the search warrant actually got executed by the arson team?
Yes, ma'am.
Once the search warrant was signed, what, if anything, did you do?
I photographed and collected evidence on the outside of the residence while the state arson team focused on the inside.
I'd like to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibits 14 through 27. Permission to approach the witness?
Granted.
Could you go ahead and take a look through 14 through 27?
Yes, ma'am.
You can just do it quickly into yourself, and then I'll ask you a question about the collective of them. As a whole, what do photographs 14 through 27 look like to you?
Photographs that were taken of the outside scene of the residence.
And are those photographs that you took?
Yes, ma'am.
And knowing that the arson team or the Ohio Fire Marshals were going to take photographs, why did you also take photographs as well?
Outside evidence, depending on the weather and other things, can blow away or subject to environmental conditions. So after the search warrant was being served and was signed off on the judge, we went ahead, like I said, the arson team focused on the inside of the residence, and I focused on the outside and collected evidence on the outside to kind of help with them and assist in that role.
And did it take them, well, were they there when you were taking these?
Yes,
as well?
ma'am.
Okay. Do those appear to be fair and accurate copies of the photographs that you were taking at the time?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Your Honor, at this time, the state would like to move State's Exhibits 14 through 27 into evidence.
Which will be heard. Mister, be admitted, you may publish.
Thank you.
14 through 27.
Thank you.
Are you going digitally, Katie, or are you going to go to?
May I use the overhead, please? So let's go through these. Could you explain what State's Exhibit 14 is?
Yes, ma'am, that is the front side of the residence.
Okay. State's Exhibit 15.
That is the rear of the residence that I had ran to and observed the victim lying on the ground.
All right. As well, what am I pointing to here?
A bent window screen, ma'am.
All right. State's Exhibit 16.
That is a from the ground up photograph of the rear of the residence.
State's Exhibit 17. What in particular, what window does that room go to?
That is the window to the master bathroom.
And what were you, this right here, if you will, what were you trying to document in that photograph?
Trace evidence of either skin or hair.
As well as State's Exhibit 18.
Yes, ma'am.
Were you trying to do the same thing there?
Yes, ma'am.
State's Exhibit 19. First of all, what is that? Just could you educate the jury?
That is a placard that we'll use when we're able to observe evidence to be collected. We will take a photograph, put the placard next to it, and that one's letter A.
Okay. And what were you depicting on the ground there as letter A?
It was either skin or hair, ma'am.
Okay. And placard B, in the general area there on the ground in the yard, what were you depicting there?
Again, more skin and or hair.
Placard C.
That was by where the victim was lying, and that appears to be blood.
Okay. And I should go back, and I apologize. I'm trying to hurry because it's 3:31. And I apologize. Placard A is State's Exhibit 19.
Yes.
Photograph.
Yes,
I apologize. That is my fault. And State's Exhibit 20 depicts placard B.
Yes, ma'am.
State's Exhibit 21 is placard C.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm very sorry about that. Going back now, in line. State's Exhibit 22, is that a close-up of
The blood, yes, ma'am.
placard C? And getting back on track, State's Exhibit 23, what does that depict?
That is placard D, and that appears to be either hair and or skin. Appears to be hair.
And State's Exhibit 24,
It's a close-up of D.
State's Exhibit 25 is,
More hair. Burnt hair.
and then State's Exhibit 26,
Is a bent window frame.
and since you were up in the adjoining master bathroom, does that appear to be the same size as the master bathroom
Yes, ma'am.
frame? Okay. And then State's Exhibit 27, what is that a close-up of?
Blood drop on that window frame.
Okay. These items that you had placards for, when the Ohio Fire Marshals were there, were all of these items, since you're an evidence tech, did you assist them in actually collecting this physical evidence?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
And could you explain to the jury, how do you go about, how did you learn, and how did you, in this case, go about collecting that physical evidence?
So, again, the state fire marshal's team, arson team, focused on the inside of the residence while I did the outside perimeter. What we'll do is we will take a photo, close up, put a placard next to it. Anytime that any evidence is collected, I will use rubber gloves, and I will use a different bag for every piece of evidence that is collected.
Okay. And in particular, I'd like to turn your attention to what you have identified as placard B, and I'm making reference to State's Exhibit 20, this photograph. You collected what is depicted in State's Exhibit 20, the placard B. I'm going to show you what's been marked as the physical evidence, State's Exhibit 239.
once again.
You may.
I'm handing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 239.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I have gloves here as well.
Thank you.
They're a very masculine lilac. Let the record reflect. You're a little small, sorry. All right.
Yes, ma'am.
And could you take a look at that item? And you can unclip it. I know the plastic is sealed, so you're okay. But take a look at the evidence bag. And if it looks familiar to you, let us know what that is.
This is the brown evidence bag that I used that is documented B with singed hair or hold on here, grass or flesh. You can see where I had originally taped it and marked my initials and my badge number, which is consistent with what I was taught at the Miami Valley Crime Lab. Then there's my name, the date it was collected, and the address.
And that's your handwriting?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Okay. Now, it seems like there is a plastic bag that was clipped to the brown bag. Are you able to explain how or why we now have two bags?
Yes, so evidence technicians collect evidence. Then it will get sent off to a lab. At that point, they conduct their testing and do what they need to do depending on the type of crime or what the evidence it is and what's requested of them. It appears that they have put it in a different bag after testing the evidence, and then it was submitted to me for today in this way.
All right. Looking at the clear bag and the contents in the clear bag, the contents in the clear bag, does that look to be the same items that you collected?
Yes, ma'am.
Does it appear to be in the roughly same physical condition as when you collected it?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, at this time, the state would move State's Exhibit 239 into evidence.
That's what
Yes,
you heard.
239.
Yes, sir. Be admitted, may be published.
Thank you. What did you do with State's Exhibit 39 after you collected that from the ground and you put it in this paper bag? What happened to it?
After discussing evidentiary items that were found at the outside scene, I spoke with members of the State Fire Marshal Arson team, and I had transferred the custody of that evidence over to them to go to the lab.
Okay. As well, with the other placard items, did you do the same thing?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. While you still have your gloves on, we saw in your body cam that you had also taken the defendant's phone as well. Did you keep that as evidence and then turn that over?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 11. Permission to approach the witness.
Granted.
There you go. That's still sealed. I have scissors there.
Am I allowed to open it? Okay.
You can take it out if you need to look at it.
Okay, it's a black Apple iPhone.
Does that look familiar to you?
Yes, ma'am.
How so?
It was taken off of the defendant by me and placed in front of my cruiser.
Taken off the defendant?
I'm sorry, ma'am, it was taken off of the defendant by me and then placed in the front seat of my cruiser.
Does that appear to look like the same Apple iPhone back from May 11, 2023 that you got off of the defendant?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, at this time, the state moves States Exhibit 11 into evidence.
Exhibit 11 will be admitted, may be published.
Thank you. You okay? So that is the cell phone that we saw on your body cam that you got out of the defendant's pocket
Yes,
when
ma'am.
he came out
Yes, ma'am.
of the house.
Oh my goodness,
What did you do
Caroline.
with this cell phone when you took it into evidence? Who did you hand that off to?
I handed that off to a member of the State Fire Marshal Arson team, ma'am.
Don't say anything more, just in case. You know? No more words, Caroline.
At some point in time, while you were still on scene, and after the search warrant was executed, did the owner of the home arrive on scene?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you remember who that person was?
Robbi Robinson Sr., I believe.
Okay. And could you, don't talk about anything he said, but could you describe the interactions you had with him?
Sure. So for those of you who have not experienced a fire or loved ones who have experienced a fire, once the power shut off, water shut off, the house is not livable at that point in time. So we always allow people, after the fire department's cleared it, to go in and get personal belongings. We allowed him to do that. We also showed him the damage from the fire in the residence. We located and took the defendant's laptop and served him with a search warrant, and we also took a handgun for safekeeping.
And did you document these final items that you took?
Yes.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibits 28 through 34.
May I take these off?
Yes, yeah.
Granted.
Just say granted.
Permission to approach what you're gonna say.
Yes.
My response is gonna be granted.
Thank you. I'm handing you what's been marked as 28 through 34.
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead and take a look at those again. Not again, but go ahead and look at those. And when you're done, go on and look up.
Okay.
Overall, do those photographs look familiar to you?
Yes, ma'am.
How so? Just as a collective?
They were photographs of placards that were taken at the scene.
Okay. Are those items that were physical evidence that were, other than the cell phone, other than items that were inside the home that you just discussed or
Yes.
testified?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and do those appear to be fair and accurate renditions of the items that were found inside the home,
Yes, ma'am.
except for the cell phone?
Yes, ma'am, except for the cell phone.
Okay, and does the cell phone photograph appear to be fair and accurate as well?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, the state moves 28 through 34 into evidence.
Will be admitted and be published.
Thank you. So I should have asked this, shown this one to you when we were talking about the cell phone. Did you also take a photograph of the cell phone as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And that is State's Exhibit 28? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, now going into your testimony regarding items from inside the home after senior arrived. Could you explain to the jury what State's Exhibit 29 is?
It is a photo from the outside hallway into the defendant's bedroom.
Okay, the defendant's bedroom, all right. And you had made mention of a laptop that was recovered. Do you remember where that was recovered, or where senior gave you permission or gave the officers permission to take it? And it might have already been taken by the.
You know, I can't, no ma'am, I cannot recall.
Does this refresh your recollection?
Yes, there it is, okay. It's on the floor underneath the desk in front of the shoes.
Okay. So let's use State's Exhibit 30. And do you want to go ahead and circle it if we're able? There we go. Okay. And then did you travel off into the master bedroom and locate something there that you kept for safekeeping?
Yes,
You
ma'am.
testified to?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you able to clear? Thank you. So I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 31. Orient us to where we are in the master bedroom and what we are looking at first.
So if you were to stand at the foot of the bed with your back toward the wall and where the headboard was, this is a window
Okay.
past the foot of the bed at the back of the house.
And so what's this kind of brown thing with the light shining in it?
It's a window blind.
A blind, okay. So then what are we looking at here in State's Exhibit 32?
That is a photo of the handgun that we took for safekeeping.
Okay. And then what is the purpose of State's Exhibit 33?
It's a photo of that firearm with the serial number to document it. That way, when we take recovered firearm, it's our policy that any type of item that has a serial number on it, whether it's a firearm or what have you, we're able to locate, just document it.
And so, and we can also see it better
Yes, ma'am.
instead of it just being on the windowsill?
Correct,
Okay.
yes.
And then State's Exhibit 34 is a photograph of what?
That is a copy of the search warrant and the return on search warrant.
Okay. And what is the purpose of leaving photographs like that at a home when a search warrant's been executed?
It documents the fact that we had executed the search warrant within the parameters specified, and then we had taken certain items, and it's documented for that homeowner or property owner.
Okay.
All right, you guys, I'm going to have to call it here. I was hoping we could get more of it in, but we'll have to finish this up in the next one because I've got to run and get ready to run to the doctor's office. Yay me. Anyway, this is it for me for today. I would love to at some point stream over the weekend and catch up on this and the small little bit that is left tomorrow. So I'll plan on doing that probably tomorrow at some point. If you guys miss it live, then you can always catch the replay, but and I'm not sure what time tomorrow it will be, but just make sure you have your notifications on, and I'll try to give plenty of like notice, you know. So anyway, I'm going to scooch on out of here, but I will see you guys back tomorrow. Thanks, Brenda. Hey, Kayleen. Good to see you, hun. Hello, hello. Thanks, Donnie. Yeah. We'll see what I'm more concerned about what they say about my thyroid, if I need to bump my medicine up or if leave it alone. I don't know. We'll see. But I will see you guys back tomorrow at some point to finish out the rest of what we've missed so far on this trial. Okay? I love you guys. Make sure to hit the thumbs up before you leave. Subscribe if you're new. And hashtag replay in the comments down below if you're watching it on the replay. Thanks, Gail. Bye, Morgana. Love you guys. Mean it. See you tomorrow. Bye.